I do too, and we record this, members, because we throw this thing onto our website, and then Dave excerpts the uh, demonstrations, and most of the time provides them separately, so you don't listen to all the noise and the weather reports and all that we talk about. If you just want to see the demonstration, like Doug Miller is going to do a demonstration for us tonight. I think he said a three-sided bowl or a bottomless bowl. We were going back and forth. Get this, we were going back and forth about finishes because I said something last month or whatever about abrasive paste and waxes. And that could be in the finishes too, if you want to add your comments on that. But I was asking him, can we, I was asking the whole club, can we do something particular on abrasive waxes, abrasive paste and waxes? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of turn is flipping over to that to put the finish on, and that's actually, it's a good idea. And even novice finishers will think, I'm not going to go that far. You'll be shocked what it does when you have a piece you think is finished. You have a piece that's finished. I don't have a piece around here that's like that. And you look at it, and there's just some irregularities on the outside of the coat. It could be irregularities when you spray the lacquer, because lacquer doesn't lay down the way we all think it does. Especially I have a rattle can and ambitious turners. They spray the hell out of it, right? They do. And then it sags or runs or puddles or gets white or whatever. But you can't fix all the problems with it. But if you do that and then you buff it with abrasive paste and you work at it, crocus cloth is made to polish metal. And it's so fine you got a hard time deciding what's the front and what's the back. It works just like that. It's extremely fine. The vehicle is the paste, the wax. And when you work it in, it takes all the irregularities off the surface. And the ugliness of your piece is not your work or your finish. The ugliness comes because light hits irregularities in the finish, and it comes back at you at different angles. So you're looking at a mirror, but it's like you're at the fair where they're all warped and all that. Exact same thing is happening. Your finish is attacking those ridges, and they're coming back like this instead of like this. So if you want to eliminate those ridges and those low spots, this is how you do it. I've always been a great fan of buffing. I'm not real cool on my wheel buffing system sometimes. Only because it's here where everything else is, and I think it picks up contaminants. How's that for a term? If you don't clean it before you use it, people say it's a buffing wheel. But what are you buffing with? If you're buffing with grit and trash and all this, if it's in the wheel, that's going to affect your buff. So you're not buffing at 600, 800, 1,000 or whatever. You're buffing 2 or 3 grits lower, and you're tearing the finish besides polishing it. So I always found that on my wheel that when I crank it up, I have an old hacksaw blade. Maybe got 6 tooth per inch, maybe less. It's gonna be less. And I have it on a vice grip dedicated to it because it's locked up, it's frozen. And I put it up against the wheel and clean the wheel, address it before I buff something I don't want a super fine finish on. And I love it. The folks at Beals said, just buy a replacement wheel. I'm not too cool on buying something I can live a different way without. Carl Geary said, prior fix 34.8 or Axe abrasive and polishing. Is Axe the family that's in the United States that manufactures that stuff really in their kitchen?
Yeah, they're in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I have a couple of cans in here, but after the last storm, you can't read the labels on it. All I know is it's labeled wax, buff and wax. Um, and I've found all kinds of products out there. I have to spray them on something to see what they are. But those folks blend that product at home, and they're very particular about it. They're so particular. If you talk to them if you didn't like it after you started using it, they'll make a deal. They'll take it back, exchange it or whatever. That's when you deal with family businesses and homegrown businesses right here. You may get
Hi,
that.
Eddie.
Oh, Brenda's here.
Hi.
Hello, Brenda. How are you tonight?
I'm good. You want to
Good.
make me a co-host and I'll help you get some people in here?
That's it. You're in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we fast. We don't miss a chance.
Get this started then. Get the party started.
Yeah, let's go. Brenda, you're joining us after a few minutes, but remember when I asked folks what kind of lake they use, and we did
Yep.
a poll, and David put that poll on our website.
Okay.
Now I want to ask you another question. All the terms. I want one more question to ask you. I'll have more later. What is your preferred finish? And you can tell me what the steps are. Like Carl just said, he likes Parfix 34.8, and then he buffs it with Axe abrasive polish.
Mhm.
When I'm looking, somebody else said use. Jim Selby says Howard's and then CA, EE and Donald said EE and Hawkeye oil. So we're getting some input. We're going to assemble this also. I just said a minute ago, pieces aren't finished until they're finished. Now, in the future, I want to start asking about how do we get to the step of finishing. I gave it to my wife to take up for it. I was a great fan of sandpaper. I would go to that place that'll sell you a box of samples or whatever, rolls and pieces, and I would buy that box. And when you got all kinds of stuff. You got stuff as rough as concrete and bricks, and then you stepped up a little bit. That sandpaper is made for a different portion of our world. Most of it works very good for flat work or on machines and stuff like that. For what we use sandpaper for, it's different. I call it hardware store sandpaper. I don't use hardware store sandpaper. Not that I'm polite or whatever. I'm looking for a good finish. So what I'm going to do in the future is ask you, how do you get there? I turned a pretty piece that was segmented and probably had 300 or 400 pieces of segments, very thin, 16 per ring, and I had it stacked. I was going to make a pencil holder out of it from my desk. That's criminal for what I was going to do with it. And I had it maybe 6 or 7 inches tall, so that when you drop the pencil in it, you just had a little bit of the top of the pencil sticking out. And it was going to be a showpiece because nobody uses pencil in the office. But I got it done. I shaped it with the scraper inside and out. And then I picked up some sandpaper and thought, I want to belt this out and make it look good. Being greedy, I took a strip and put around a piece of paper towel and stuck it down in the center. Well, that was pretty good. All right. Then I got even greedier, and I put one on the outside. Figured I'd do the whole thing at one time. Guess whose glue melted? My wife was sitting in the door watching me, and she said it looked like a machine gun. Pieces taken off. And they took off before it was quick. It was a few seconds, and half of it was gone. And I was like, okay, what did I do wrong? When I grabbed the container and felt how warm it was. I was using tight bond, standard tight bond. I just made it warm enough to go away again. And imagine if I'd done something else for adhesive or treated it differently, I'd get there. So, getting a good crowd in here tonight, folks. I'd like to hear what you have going on, what you've been turning, tips and tricks. We love those tips and tricks from you folks. It's always nice to see how you manage to do your work and either use your tools, shop tools, modified stuff, hand stuff. You know the deal. I've been playing around so much. My shop isn't this time. I decided today, tomorrow before we go to the workout, I'm going to come in here and just clean something up, finish moving stuff around. I still want to change where some tables are. And I have some new plywood for my laser. It's 2 mils thicker, 2 mils thin. And I want to cut it where I can cut some, so we call them doubloons, out of it. And maybe put some artwork on it. I want to have something besides business cards to pass to folks when I meet them in SWAT, because we're going to run into a lot of folks that either don't know about us or don't understand us, because I've had a lot of that lately. Folks say, can I sponsor you? There's other clubs like this and they're sponsored. Do we think we need a sponsor? This is your club. Do you think we need a sponsor?
No. No.
No.
Hi, Dane.
What's up?
Hey, Gary was in there just now. Gary?
Yeah, Louisiana Hobby Guy did one of his videos on doing those, like you could do a whole sheet all at once.
I will not dare to copy Rich's program. Never. I don't think I even made notes of it.
Hi, Susan.
Hi there. How y'all doing?
Rich is the master.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, where's he at? I didn't know.
Andy.
Andy is in there. Andy, I saw some work.
I made
from you. Boy, that was nice work.
What's that, Ed? You're breaking up a little bit.
Pens.
Well, thank you. I've only had a little bit of time. And you're right, that black bomb was fun.
Oh, yeah. It's fun.
A lot of 3408 on that one.
Yeah, you had to slice it like a knife, didn't you? That's the black palm is a beautiful piece of I don't want to say wood. Andy will back me up. Don't call it wood.
No, it's a handful of straws.
Yeah,
That's a good piece of
and
grass.
it's nice. Me and Larry Sarah from Gulf Coast each bought a chunk of it, and I tried to make some bottle stoppers out of it. And the first one or two just went to trash because I wasn't following the Marc Soleil rule about don't gouge, slice. And once I changed, in fact, I just changed over to a scraper to do the final cuts because I was getting a better peel off or slice from that. And Andy probably ran into that because it would just, it will just blow up on you, won't it, Andy?
No, I got lucky on this one. It turned real nice, but I cheated. I had some, once I got the pieces down to length for the pen blanks and drilled them out, I just sort of turned them on edge on a little bit of packing tape and started pouring on the CA like it was like filling up a cup.
Oh,
Flooded it.
see, that was my pre-CA days for that type of code before I learned from Alan. You know, that'd be a smart move. It's a good
Well,
term. We're wood terms. We can create a term. Densifier. It's a good densifier.
Well, when Billy was saying that he only had luck with stabilizing them, I don't have a pressure pot or anything or a vacuum. So I tried that idea and it seemed to work out, at least the first one. I don't know what the rest of them will do, but it worked for me.
That's
And
my
I used
staple.
a 3/4 bolt, 3/4 spindle gouge. That's why I turned 99% of them. Maybe a final whisker with a skew, but most of it's turned with a 3/4 roughing gouge.
Good. All right. That's how you got to go about some was like that. Mike, all this talk about stabilizing systems, mine is super glue. And I really don't prefer the ones that you can buy retail from the big dollar stores. They call them big box stores. I call them big dollar stores. Um, that stuff is made to do your garden post and the columns out in front of your house and you know lawn furniture. What we want is something that goes finer and deeper because after we put it on there, it's not going to be a finished coat. It is a subcoat. It's a stabilizer to allow us to get better cuts and better finishes. So if you say, I'm going to go get some of the wood hardener at the orange store, does it depend? Look at the density of it. Look at what it can do. Now you're talking super glue, look at the density of that and look where it'll go. So we're going to have to look at that in the future and see if we can hook somebody else in. I think a little while ago, Dane, we had, I don't see him now, but he volunteered to do a demonstration. Gary in Oklahoma volunteered to do a demonstration for us. Uh-oh, Gary's going to blink out. Watch.
Internet problems, thunderstorm.
He's just getting that 180 degrees out of whack there.
Hey, Eddie, can you set me up for co-host?
Yeah, it was sunspots. That's all.
I know my internet is so shaky. My internet is so bad. It comes through
Mine
phone
too.
lines, and I'm at the end of the line.
Mine too. I can't go through the program that I developed a while back to do all the graphics and everything and multi-screens. I can't go. It won't load up. So we're waiting for a little something to happen, and then we're going to change. But I like TV with no commercials. We have.
Eddie, can you get me as co-host as well?
There he is. There's Miller.
Here.
Hi, Doug.
Hey, guys.
Is Doug doing the demo tonight?
Yep. Got his
I thought
smock all
so.
washed.
My smock. I
Wants
need
to
a new
wash
one.
'em?
Look at that.
Oh my.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Washed with
clean.
dust. All right.
It's clean. It really is. It won't, whatever that is, it will not come off.
Yeah, my blue one's like that as well. It's embedded.
I used to sell smocks through my mail order business, and I had to give it up because none of us want to own up to the size we really, send to. I tried this 3X on, it just doesn't fit. What size jacket you make? You wear a 62, But it's a jacket. This is just a smock. And I went to a demonstration one time with a guy. He was pretty good. He forgot his smock, and what he was turning is wet, and he knew better than to ruin his shirt. He got a black garbage bag, cut the neck out, cut 2 sleeve penetrations in it, and put it on. Black garbage bag. Boy, if somebody videotaped that, we'd really make the news.
I've used them on construction sites real quick when a little bore on a quick thunder boomer sets in.
Yeah. I used to carry, when I was working my tools, in my toolbox I had those little throwaway ponchos. And you get a little flack from some folks about it. Yeah, I can handle my flack when I'm dry. And I really don't care if you're dry or not. Let's do a little gallery tonight. Gary has got some items to show. I see that. And
I'm okay. You got me.
Yeah.
I got to do a couple of items that I've got to give to relatives this weekend when we go kind of family. So they've got just a finish on them right now of Danish oil, and then tomorrow I'll be putting rattle can lacquer on them. But they'll be given away, so I wouldn't have them next week. So they just
Love it.
turn quickly.
Very nice.
Love the
Very
green.
nice.
Looks
Very
good.
nice, Gary.
Beautiful.
Gary. Hey,
it's
man.
always nice to turn something you can give away. You know, and then a lot of us, a lot of members sell things at craft shows or whatever, take orders. That's great. If that helps you support your habit, that's all fine.
But you got to be careful though. If you've got two items and you're giving them to two different relatives, you better split them up. Don't give them the option. Okay, which one do you want?
Oh no, never do that. It's like holding M&M's out and asking the kid to pick the
when-
best ones.
That's when you go to your favorite relative and let them pick which one they would like, and then the odd person out gets what they get. That's what I do.
Wrap them up. Oh, look what I have.
And when they complain about it later, and then you can say, "Well, you're the idiot that picked it." That would be my mother-in-law. All right, let's go back to Matt.
Matt, I'm sorry, I blanked him out.
That's
him
all right.
out. There he is.
That's all right. Not a problem. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
I was in the shop this afternoon. As you guys know, I got dragooned in doing a dot painting video next week or demo. So I'm turning something to paint, and I did this little quilted piece of maple here. It was in my shop. It was kind of thin.
I like
So
it.
I'm going to paint it. If you want to know how thin it is, can you see the center there?
I can see your eyes.
Yeah.
You didn't have a mangy old piece of ash.
Oh,
Oh,
almost the funnel.
It's not even flexible, and I've turned pieces before where the center was flexible. So
wow.
no, I don't have any. I haven't had any ash for years. All my ash is dead and has been for years. That plague started not too far from here in the port of Detroit. The emerald ash borer was first brought into the port of Detroit in the bilge or something on a foreign freighter, and it expanded basically radiating outward from Detroit. All my ash has been dead for at least 10 years. My county alone lost something like 300,000 ash trees.
Oh, wow.
So,
I killed all the ash on my property in Ohio.
yep.
I live in PA, and there was big things. Don't take your ash firewood across state lines or anything like that.
Yep. If they're already starting to talk about it, it's too late.
Right.
Yeah. And this
But
was
at any rate, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to paint the dots in patterns around the rim here. So we'll see how that goes.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
Good.
Next week. All right, cool.
Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Good preview.
We're always looking for tips, tricks, and demonstrations. And we run into them all the time. And if you have one, if you have an iPhone, really, you can do a demonstration for us. I think Doug Miller went high tech. He's actually got his iPhone and turned the light on for his demonstration tonight. Doug can do it. He can do it. He does YouTube videos that are awesome, and he produces them on his phone or videotapes them through his phone.
Even the editing is on my phone.
What's that?
Even the editing is on my phone.
The editing too?
Your audio is real muffled.
Okay, I'm going to change my headset. I'll be back in a second.
All right.
Okay.
Doug Rowe's going to do our demonstration for us in a little while. If you've got something to show on gallery, pop it up, throw it on the chat. Our gallery master, Dane Chandler, he'll call it up. We have a couple of folks as co-hosts tonight, and their functions, their volunteer operation is to help this meeting go along. It's not a priority thing. It's folks that said, hey, can I help? Yeah, we can help. So we assign co-host duties to them, and they can help with allowing members to enter, looking at the chat. It's to make the show flow better, meeting flow better. I keep going to show things. My wife calls this a show, which is all right. Heather says, I do all my YouTube videos and editing on my Android phone. How's that work for you, Heather? Heather? She's not talking to us. Okay.
I'm here.
You have.
I'm here. I'm at work though.
Ah, we won't tell your boss.
That's good. She's at home anyway. Yeah,
Ah.
it seems to work out okay. So yeah, videos.
You use
It's an LG Velvet Android phone.
the platform software.
Can you,
Let me see. I think it's KindMaster. Yeah, it's KindMaster that I use for editing.
Works out.
there are for everything you've got on iPhone, there are similar apps on Android that do the same things, including
Yeah.
video editing. So, yep.
Yep, exactly. And it seems to work all right. You'll have to check out my channel and tell me for yourself.
Why don't you throw your channel in on the chat tonight if you can?
I can do
We
that.
have a-
Thanks.
we have a listing of all the channels on our webpage, so it'd be great to have you on.
Yeah, Dave will pull it out and put it up there so we can find you later.
That
Awesome.
might be a good demo too, you know.
Come on, don't scare her away already.
Unfortunately, I seem to work every Wednesday night, so I don't think I can have time to do a demo. I'd have to
Well, you can
record
do
it.
You can record it and then we can play it.
There you go. That would
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
Always and out.
Always.
How is my sound now?
Much better,
There,
Doug.
Doug.
Much better.
Good, good. That other headset, for some reason, did not charge this week, so this one is charged, and I was hoping it would sound better. What I started to say was that I was not only doing my recording on my phone, but I'm doing my editing on the phone as well. Just like Matt said, anything that I can do on my iPhone, you can do on another type of phone. It's not that big a deal. There are softwares that'll work for everything.
That's true. And if there isn't one today, they'll make one tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As you can tell by the condition of his clothing tonight, Doug will be doing our demonstration. What are we doing? You told me, and I missed it, Doug. What was our project?
Round bottom bowls.
Round the bottom bowl. Oh, you've been showing us a couple of those.
Are you,
Yeah,
are you still
I
going to
put
do your
one up.
abrasive paste?
If I can get through turning it quick enough, I will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What I found out is I can turn them in about a third of the time that it takes to sand and then do the abrasive paste and wax. Kind of crazy. But we'll see how it goes.
It's called the finish.
So,
You know,
So when you say round bottom, hey, Doug, when you say round bottom, do you mean, is that going to be in the fashion of a calabash bowl or just or a round
That's
bottom?
what I'm doing calabash, but yes, it's round. It has no foot, no recess. I take the tenon off and it's round, literally.
Right. Like calabash. Okay.
it's a very artistic piece. It really is. And as Doug was saying, it takes longer to do the finish and to the final coat and finish because you see how it is right there and it rocks a little bit from across with the right finish on that piece from across the room, it'll sparkle at you, it'll wink at you, it'll catch your eye when you go by. That in a really well finished platter, so that's what you want to have where people can stand out and see it. A big piece with a great finish is nice also, but you're looking something, I want to use the term play with. experiment with, practice with. That's not a big chunk of wood for you to play with. What is that? Doug?
What, this?
Yeah.
This is black limba, 4x2. I bought 5 of these, I think it was. Some company was having a special on them. They were getting rid of the last of their stock, I think. And I bought them for a good price. And so I've turned 2 of them. This will be the 3rd piece. I'm trying to get 5 different styles of turning out of these 5 small chunks of wood.
That'd be cool. All right.
Yeah.
Nice project. We'll be seeing that in a little while with Doug. If you want to, as I said a minute ago, there's something to show in gallery tonight. Just throw it in the chat that I have something. I want to see if Doug Rowe turned that ugly log that he had on YouTube.
Potential on that log.
I haven't completely turned it yet. We're getting closer.
All right, I'm going to go back and spot it. All right. Is that the piece?
So this is the one I just put on, that I started on Facebook earlier. And then I had something else. Then I looked at the clock and said, well, I guess it's time for the Worldwide Woodturners meeting. So I'm turning it. But I'll finish this. It's a big chunk of wood.
I see you have the tail stuck up on it. How are you holding the other end?
Right now it's just a spur drive, so it's just between centers right now. I'll usually get the tendon put on the side, and the base.
We're just going to come in.
Nice. All right. We really want to see that one wrapped up. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Doug,
you're pretty great in that one.
Doug, you're getting a pretty good head of hair on you, bud.
It's getting there. I mean, I don't think it's going to grow back on the bald spot, and I don't think it's ever going to grow back much on the top. But the sides are looking pretty good.
All right.
I can see a fire-cut ponytail in your future.
Or a man bun. I see a man bun. Yeah.
Oh, no.
I hope not. I hope not. Have your man card revoked.
Ever happen on this head. If I keep growing hair long again, I'd do it. Long to the 80s, but I would never have a man bun. Nope. Even I have a point where I got to draw the line.
Yeah.
I'll wear a dress. I'll wear earrings. I will not wear a man bun.
Right.
I'm always amazed when I sit at the pool to do my exercise, how many guys come in with the bun thing going, or it's a bun thing. It's not a ponytail.
Skinny jeans. It's skinny jeans. Girls' jeans on.
Oh my word. Yeah.
Yeah, LuLaRoos.
Boy.
We had an iron worker apprentice down at the cracker plant who was wearing
Ladies and
them
gentlemen
things.
of this group, we are showing our age.
You know, I don't know about y'all, but I think I'm well past the time when anything labeled skinny will fit me.
Appreciate it. That's it. Exactly.
Yeah, me as well.
Matt, you must not go to Walmart enough.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't even want.
Now I remember a
Videos
time
on-
like
they got those videos online, and you can see them. It's just disgusting.
Well, now I have seen them. Okay, I'm not a hermit recluse, but I will say
Right.
that, you know, when I started buying jeans for myself, there was 3 choices. There was boot cut, which was basically a straight cut. There was bell bottom jeans, which dates me, and there was, I don't know what they called them, but they you know, the beatniks were wearing them. They were tight at the ankles.
Yeah, they
You
were
know.
straight leg flares,
Straight
and
leg.
boot cut, and then bells.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
way.
and as far as I'm concerned, you know, that pretty much covers the whole thing. You know, you want big, wide, floppy pants, you buy bell bottoms. You want to look like a normal person, you buy a straight cut, you know,
Yep.
boot cut jeans, and you want to try to make it a different sort of statement, you buy those other things.
Yeah, you
Are
want
those
people to
balloon
look at
pants?
you.
As long as I can buckle them, I figure I'm doing good. You know?
Yep. Well, you know,
The
and there's
secret
a
is
point.
buckling and bending over.
There's a point where you switch to suspenders because the buckle ain't cutting it. So,
Well, you go from blue jeans to overalls to suspenders.
Or stretchy pants.
Oh my.
I want to see
With
Doug
there's
Rowe
one
in
kind of
stretchy
pants. The comfy pants.
Yeah, well, that's for you women.
Well, I don't know. I could see myself in some leggings or yoga pants because that's not too different than the spandex of the '80s. So
Yeah, well, and they make those like expando waistband thingies that the old guys golfing all wear, you know.
Yeah.
So
Not a
I'll
golfer.
pull that off and try and look like Dee Schneider or Brett Michaels or somebody.
Oh, with a little mascara, huh? All right, Doug. Might as well just wrap that man bun up too, then.
No, I have no problem with it. I will not wear a man bun. That's where I draw the line. Give me lipstick, give me rouge. I'm okay with it.
Hey, he has his ethics, right?
Yeah,
You're right. You got to draw a line somewhere.
Scary stuff.
As long as it's not everywhere.
There's a reason I don't go to Walmart. Dane explained it a little while ago.
Right? Yeah.
I
You don't want to go to the Walmart down from my house after about 9:30. Oh my God.
I don't want to go to my Walmart at any time.
oh, come on, y'all. That's the entertaining time to go to Walmart. Things get interesting.
Not at 3 o'clock in the morning, it ain't.
It's interesting.
I'll wait till they put the YouTube video up.
There you go. You're the
Yeah,
smart
right.
one.
We'll wait till we talk about it online.
You know, it occurs to me, Doug, that you might be one of those guys who goes to Walmart in drag at 3 a.m. So
I'm saying that I've never not been there.
Whoa, that sounds like it came from DC.
I'll tell you a funny story. So one year, me and my buddy in our younger days, we decided on Halloween we were going to the clubs dressed as female Dublin twins. I still had muscles back then and more of a six pack rather than a pony keg for a stomach. So I looked pretty good in my leotard and my makeup and whatever. I wound up locking the keys in the car. Had to call my brother to come out to pick us up. In the meantime, the clubs are now closed. It's about whatever. It's after the clubs are closing. So whatever, 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And some guy stops and he looks at me. He's like, hey, ma'am, do you need a ride? I'm like, you need to get away from me now. He realized he's not talking to a woman. I was very angry with the whole situation already. And I was just like, this night get any worse. But I brought it on myself. I was the one that chose to go out. Like, well,
Could at least let him buy you a beer or two.
well, everything was closed. So if he was going to,
okay.
yeah, he only had one thing in mind. And that wasn't.
Yeah, he had a six pack. He had a six pack inside for you.
He was going to be in for a shocking surprise. All right. Good boy, I tell you
I
what.
think Lou Reed's got a song about that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he sure does. And that was kind of a wild side for me that night.
Yeah, it sure was. Yeah, Aerosmith.
There are no lines.
No, there is. Man button. That's the line.
Okay, that's the line. Well, I'm working on mine. I mean, okay. That my no hawk. Isn't that what Sue called it? A no hawk?
Yeah, it's a no hawk. Yeah.
That works.
I turned my no hawk up last night.
Let's go back and talk
Go
about the
wall.
clothes that we still have in our closet.
Blue Jays, t-shirts, and one good suit.
from the 70s.
I still have a
Let's
boot.
go back to that instead of the conversation. Giggling.
Yeah,
I'm just giggling.
I
That's all.
still have my pinstripe suits from the 90s, early 90s, late 80s.
I'm a purger. If I haven't worn it in 3 years, it goes to Salvation Army. So I routinely clean out.
I don't overbuy. I don't overbuy.
Well, I don't either. I got a week's worth of clothes. That's all I've got. If you
I
want
had
me to
worn it in
attend a
3
formal
years, it
event, I'm
don't
going to have
fit
to
me.
buy. Yeah, if you want me to attend a formal event, I'm going to need to buy a shirt.
I got a couple good shirts I keep if somebody's getting married or a funeral, and I got a suit. Other than that, the blue jeans wear out, I buy new ones. They go right then.
I got two,
Same
work
with
clothes. I got
t-shirts.
2 revolving sets. I just wash them.
Hey,
Making
I
a whole
see
bunch
Bill.
of clothes worthless.
I see Billy Burke popping in on us tonight. Billy, I saw that piece on a where did I see it on Facebook?
Facebook. Yeah, it's textured and painted. Been working on that for a while. Get that completed yet,
Yeah,
Billy?
it is done. It's one of my. I've got something to shows tonight.
Oh, you want to do it now?
Well, I suppose I can.
All right.
Let's write you down.
Are you talking
I can
about
add to
this
my
one?
stats.
Oh, hey, let me
Yes.
get some light on the subject. Maybe that'll help. You talking about this one?
Yep.
That
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah,
That's
that was
pretty.
really phenomenal.
I used the crown spiraling tool, the texturing wheel from a crown spiraling tool to get the spiraling in it. It's red oak. It's actually glued up. You can see one of the lines there. It was an offcut that I picked up at that wood shop, and I painted. So I turned it, I dyed it. I textured it, then I dyed this black with India ink, as always. And I didn't like the way the oak looked on the inside, so I painted it gold with gold acrylic paint.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
And
it works.
Thank you. It's finished with 4 coats of deft spray lacquer, and then buffed again with Axe abrasive paste and polish and restoring paste. I had to glue my logo coin to the bottom because when I burned it, it didn't burn even and you couldn't read it. But when I made this one, I made another. I made both of them in the same video. I just showed one teaser of this one once.
Billy, what was the tool you used to texture that piece with?
It's Crown's spiraling tool. You know, like Sorby has the spiraling tool, Crown has one too, and it's significantly less expensive. At least I thought so. So I went with the Crown instead of the Sorby.
Billy?
Yes, ma'am.
Sticker shock when I see the Sorby.
It looked almost like you've got a marble, a white texture going through it.
Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Yeah. After I spiraled it and dyed it, thank you for bringing that up. The white that you see actually is white. I cut a groove here around this bead on the outside, and I used General Finishes White Mist Stain.
Okay.
I don't know if they make it anymore. I got it on clearance at Woodcraft years ago, but it's a white stain. I used this same stain. I turned an oak back in several years ago on YouTube. I turned an oak tool handle, chisel handle, and I also out of red oak. And rather than dyeing it, I actually Shoshugi bonded. I flamed it, and so I burn it. And then after I burn it, then I went over it with that white General Mist white stain, and General Finishes white mist, and it came out really pretty. I textured parts of the handle of that too, but I did that with Ron Brown's Best texturing wheels.
Yeah, good to see you don't abide by shelf life either on. It's good.
No, I have stains.
Right? I know, right? So do I.
Dane, I have stains in my cabinet that I've had for 20 years, and I still use them.
Oh, I do too.
And they still work just fine.
Yeah.
Some are Olympic, some are, I don't even remember. The other one was this one.
Pretty.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought I saw you do one that started off blue and went to black and texture.
No, this isn't that one. I've got one that's going to be in the demo. The one that started off aquamarine. I dyed
Yes.
it. The one that started off aquamarine, I didn't like how light it was. I don't know why. It's just me. Well, it's because it didn't go with the color scheme that I've got in mind. Up here, it gets kind of weird. But
Every time I try to do something with aquamarine, I get the same concepts. Like, this is not working out for me.
yeah, it was an aquamarine colored dye, and I thought, okay, I wanted a little darker. So I went over it with a dark blue, and I think it came out really cool because you can still see some of the highlights of the aquamarine in it. Anyway, coming up July 13th, I will be demoing that particular platter and the red one that if you saw it, so I'll be showing you how I do that centrifugal effect. This one is different. This is not dye. This is stain. This is Rust-Oleum Vintage Aqua and Rust-Oleum Coral. Again, just a piece of red oak cut off. I actually put this one together from he sent me home with a board that was probably that wide, and you can see where I cut it into 4 pieces and I glued it up. So this is all one board, and I glued it up. It had a little knot on this end, which is why he was chunking it. He didn't like it. And I turned it after I glued it up and sanded to 600, stained it with those 2 stains, hollowed the middle out, left it natural, and then again, deft gloss and polished it with Axe abrasive paste and polish and restoring paste. Again, the same thing. Logo didn't burn well, so I covered it up. So that's that. I started a series. Well, it started with a Turn Talk video a couple of weeks ago. I started a series that I'm going to do a playlist of called Turning on the Cheap. So hopefully teaching newer turners or less experienced turners, whatever, where to find wood that they can turn and especially practice with cheap stuff. I've got a video coming up. It's another platter. It's pine. I glued up from a pallet. Will that get me in the 2x4 club because it's pine, Eddie?
You're in there, bud.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that video's coming. It's the platter is done. I put a poll up on my community page on YouTube where the viewers wanted me to dye it, stain it, or leave it. And right now, dye is winning.
All right.
So, but it's just pine pallet wood that I glued up, and it's going to make a really pretty platter too. So I'm turning thin stuff, and it's just stuff to practice on and hone your skills.
And you can do a technique development using that type of material. And Ronnie Bunnett started talking to us 3 years ago about turning 2x4 because he got scraps from his son-in-law. And if you want a challenge, we've said this for 3 years, turn 2x4 or something like that. It doesn't have the character, doesn't have the strength and the strata that some of our other woods. I know you look at the Coca-Colas and the Wingays and all, you say, oh, look at the color. If you don't have the skills, don't cut that wood. Don't. But practice on something just like Billy said.
Right.
Practice on something that if it doesn't work out, you burn it. And you start with another piece. My oldest daughter builds lawn furniture and patio furniture out of pallets. That supplements her income, and she'll make a deal with people, and they'll drop a dozen pallets off in her backyard, and within a couple of days she's got them cleaned up, stacked out, and sorted, and goes really well at it. And I got to ask her for another tea table from my porch.
Go ahead.
Nice job, Billy.
Thank you. I have found, I used to collect a lot of pallets because I was looking for cheap wood. I was too tight to buy any. And I've found oak. I've found rock maple. I've found ash. I mean, I've heard of walnut once, believe it or not. I've heard of people finding pallets that came in from overseas that were made almost entirely of Purple Heart. So The only thing you have to worry about with pallet wood is you've got to be careful and read. Each one of them by law has to be stamped with how they were treated, and you can look those codes up. And if it's got chemicals in it, if it's got chemicals in it, well, even the foreign ones will have codes. So if it's got chemicals in it, don't mess with it. Just don't. But if it's just been heat treated or kiln dried or whatever with no chemicals, you're good to go.
I had a buddy of mine who used to work for a veneer company, and they would get burls delivered in from overseas, and the guys who were shipping them the burls would make the crates out of whatever wood they had out back behind the plant. And he had a stack, like a pile of what do they call it? It was a Sulawesi from the Indonesian archipelago. Pink, I don't know. It was an ivory. It would have
Pink
black.
ivory?
No, it wasn't pink ivory. It was black. It had pink shot through with it. No, that wasn't it. If somebody says it, and I know what it is, but anyway, but he gave me a couple of pieces, and I had to take some nails out of them and some strips of metal off of them and that kind of thing. But I got, they were in 4x4s, so I got like these really great goblets that were jet black with these bright pink streaks through them that were really pretty cool. So,
Andy said pine can be sweet, and I agree with him. It can be. Yeah. It can be rather bland, but if you get enough cathedraling in it or whatever, it can actually look really cool. One of the biggest problems with pine, especially if it's really dry, it's fairly dry and not very sappy, is the lighter colored part of the wood is so much softer than the darker brown grain that you'll actually end up with a textured piece when you finish sanding it. You can feel that darker grain raised up probably a 64th of an inch maybe. But I think that's pretty cool. That's just me.
Yeah. It lends a lot of character. It doesn't look like it's dipped in glass.
Right. I did my first economy bowl today.
Good.
It's pretty sweet. It was a small 6-inch piece. Again, I'm working with cutoffs, remember? So it was a 6-inch piece of walnut that I scrapped up and put a SIPO bottom on it. I think it's going to be cute.
Good. We'll look forward to checking that one out. Matt was saying he picked up stuff from shipyards and things imported. Unfortunately for me, it was 60 years ago when I was at trade school for cabinet making that the school had such a limited budget on materials that we would send the old Chevrolet pickup truck from the school, the tech school, down to the port of embarkation in New Orleans and pick up all the dunnage that came in. And this is stuff came in from all over the world. And it was dunnage. To them, it had no value. It was junk. They had to throw it away. We'd fill that truck up to where it was sitting flat on the springs. And I've got several pieces I made for my mother and some girlfriends and all exotics. I brought back some pieces that were bird's eye. And I remember one of the instructors there, in fact, his granddaughter's my GP doctor right now, when an instructor said, you don't want to use that, it's too busy. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous piece of bird's eye.
If you guys ever get a chance to come out to California, Sam Maloof Museum, he has a spiral staircase he built out of a shipping crate. It is just absolutely gorgeous. They said what kind of wood it was. But if you're ever in Los Angeles area, it's well worth the trip to go there and see what he's done. So.
I'm gonna butt in one more time real quick. I'm gonna say hi to somebody we haven't seen in here before, I don't think. Hello, Heather. If y'all haven't seen her YouTube channel, she's doing some really cool stuff.
Absolutely.
So go check Heather out.
We talked to her already. We've got her YouTube channel, and I'm trying to wrangle her into a demo, but I don't think she's going to be up to doing one for us.
Oh, she did say she had work.
Heather, I do peer pressure. So
Yeah, he wrangled me into it.
Hey guys, can I screen share quick and show you this stuff?
No.
Sure, go ahead, bud.
No.
No.
What do you mean no?
When did we started telling members no?
Ooh.
This stuff came in as crate material, and clearly these were goblets I made years and years ago. But Macassar ebony was the wood. I looked it up.
Oh man.
Oh, okay. That's gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty wood.
Stuff.
Madagascar.
yeah. The blacks and brown streaks that run through it are absolutely stunning.
Yep.
Yes,
It was called Macassar ebony, and it came from Sulawesi, which is one of the islands in Indonesia. So
nice.
And the guys sending the burl were making crates out of it.
Yep, I can. Yeah, that's as I put in the chat there. That's how I started my flat work foray in the woodwork, was from the pallets that we would get in supply warehouse. Parts,
Yeah,
everything else that would be shipped in overseas, and I just went all the way down that rabbit hole with beautiful woods, and I just couldn't believe it.
Unfortunately, I've never seen any Macassar ebony bigger than a pen blank. So
Well, like I said, this stuff was coming in as
Those ain't
stuff was
cheap,
coming
either.
in as 4-inch by 4-inch, square bits. So, and I was getting 3-foot sections of it. So I was getting a 3-foot section of 4-inch by 4-inch square lumber. So it was good stuff.
Wow.
We would send Kim gear out from Korea in 463L pallets, 4-foot, 8-foot, the walls all the way up. That stuff. It was just retarded.
Yeah, I have my out right now for some good old yellow pine 4x4. You can't go to the big box stores and find it. They're selling greenwood. But I want to turn some goblets out of good old fashioned, undyed, unstained, untreated 4x4.
Yeah, if you can get you some old growth pine 4x4, man, that's beautiful.
That's good stuff. Yeah. The old growth wood, especially in pine, is a far cry from the current stuff that you can get.
Oh yeah.
Because the grain is so much tighter, and it doesn't have all that tear out. It planes well. It works great with hand tools. Plus it turns, but it's hard to get a hold of.
I used to do auction pieces for a local public broadcast channel, and I'd give them 10, 15 pieces of gear. It was my mission. One of the ladies that worked there said, "Look, I have a 4x8 in my yard from a house that got blown down in Hurricane Katrina, or whatever." The house was 105 years old when it got knocked down. So I went to look at it. It was a 4x8. It was heart pine.
Oh.
And I tell you, I turned a couple of balls and a couple of bowls. I'd have to walk out the shop because of the turpentine. And my shield would be covered with it. And it's 105 years old. And somebody said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "It's on the placard on the front of the house." I went back a couple of years ago. They don't do that auction anymore. I went and found that house a couple of years ago. The house where I got it from is now gone after one of the other storms. But I'm always in the market for that. I've got cypress tables. I took beams out of the French Quarter in New Orleans, and they were 4x8, solid 4x8. And I linked them up, made a dining room table. I made a couple of coffee tables. I made a couple of center line tables, like all kinds of things. I had probably 6 or 8 pieces of furniture in my first house that were made like that. And it was gorgeous. It was great to work with. You learn to buy a metal detector if you want to fool with that stuff. All right, we have a lot of input on the chat tonight. I'd like to get that. A couple of weeks ago, I started asking members, what type of lathe are you using? Type, brand, size, whatever. And we've accumulated through Dave Rhodes, our webmaster, a pretty good list or a sampling of what our members are using. It's not a contest. We get people that ask all the time, what kind of machine do you use? What do you do? How you do this and all? As a little while ago, we're talking with Billy and a few of the other guys. It's not the machine, it's you and your technique. And we always try to teach technique rather than art. I honestly believe you can't teach art. But if you have a lathe that you're using that you haven't told us about, put it in chat. Tell David about it. We'll put it in there. But the new question is, what type of finish do you prefer? And remember, a finish is what I see when I walk in. So it's the finish. You can tell us how you build it up. Earlier I said you can use sanding sealer and OB shine and then something else and top it with spray can lacquer or whatever, or throw some CA in there. Or what one do you like best? We've got a lot of opinions on it, and I think that's really interesting is to see how we vary. Who suggested earlier?
That's a tough question.
Yeah, isn't it? And then one of our guys, and he was in here early on, Gary in Oklahoma, said, okay, can we do a subtopic? I went to public school, we didn't have subtopics. But if we do a subtopic for food safe finishes, wasn't that the one you asked about, Gary?
Well, that's a whole different can of worms.
Yeah, and I popped that up already there in chat.
Okay.
I had pre-typed it up already waiting for this.
Yeah, we'd like to see, food safe finishes. As Billy said, it's a, what they call it, sticky wicket.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many opinions on it.
But you know what they say about that.
It's like elbows. We all have at least one.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. But I get a kick out of these. You go to, I like it when you go to a trade show and a guy says, you can buy this because nothing does it like this. Well, that might be true, but you can't say nothing does it better than this. It's the end use that makes the difference. And I've seen cutting boards that were positive works of art with the wrong finish on them. Because on a cutting board, you don't cut straight down. When you got to take it off the board, and can that handle this, So I'd like to see what finishes, even especially food safe. Andy said he's been on a pin kick with 3408. Matt has put in some stuff from him. We'd like to know, really. It's information we'd like to gather to share with novice turners. I want to say rookies, novice turners. Reminding folks that we do accept your photographs for our newsletter. And if this thing works tomorrow right, I'll get the newsletter produced. Got a ton of nice photographs, really nice stuff. And a couple
you
of
could
weeks.
you could argue that finishing is a whole art unto itself to get it right.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I mean, I've tried a bunch of different things, and people can there's a bunch of different ways to get good finishes. So it's,
Yeah, Russ Fairfield was one of his go-to spots. He knew tons about finishing.
Absolutely.
That's probably one of the most confusing things for new folks coming into woodworking and woodturning is the finishing.
Yeah. And I heard Dean, but I couldn't get him up.
I've got something to share,
Dean,
Captain.
let's bring Dean up anyhow. He's got something to share.
Bring me up because I had a question here. So,
Gotcha.
All right. So somebody asked me what the proportions in the chat, what the proportions of the cross are, and this is actually not a good one. It's just a one I had left over here in the shop. So to answer that question, whatever size limb you're using, that determines how wide this is here. And if this is 2 inches, this top's going to be 1 inch. And typically, this is going to be 3 inches. So you can think of it as 1, 2, 3. And that'll give you pretty close proportions. Obviously, this one's taller than that, and I change them up, and there's no set rule that you have to keep with that. But if you look at a traditional cross, you'll see 1, 2, and 3.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, it looks best that way. When I first started making them, even if I was making them, you know, the way the Celtic style that I make them in, if the sides are too wide and the top is not tall enough, it doesn't look right.
Yes.
And it looks right if the top, if like Dean says, the 1 and the 2 are the same. You can get away with making the bottom bit longer. That works. But yeah, he's absolutely right.
That 1, 2, and 3 is the golden rule.
Yeah,
You use
right.
that in furniture all the time. It's the proportions that are more aesthetic to us.
Yeah, most of the crosses that you look at are going to be 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Notes I have on my cabinet right above my lathe also has the base is 1.5.
Yeah,
That's terribly important, but
that's typically what I'll do. I'll do the base about 1.5, whatever that is. And I don't get real precise with it. It's very rare that I measure one. I look at it and go, okay, we'll cut here and cut there, but I have done literally hundreds and hundreds of them. I've got a bowl I could share too, and another little incident or thing that I can share if you'd like me to go ahead and do that now.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Well, all of you have seen these. You know, it's where the limb forks and you cut that off. Well, for some time now, when I cut that off, whether I'm making crosses or twig pots, I save that. And I'll make a little bowl out of it.
That's nice.
That's pretty.
So this is one I did the other day.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's nice, Dean.
Is that a hummingbird?
And did you see the hummingbird, but did you see the duck? No, I'm kidding.
Quack, quack, quack.
Now, that is, that's one of them I did. And I don't know if you guys want to see, I can show you a short video. But that was the third one I did that day. And I used this gouge to do it with.
Holy wow.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That wasn't a Thompson. That wasn't a Thompson, was it?
It's not a Thompson. But there's one thing that I would suggest to everybody. We're all going to foul up. Something's going to go wrong. But when it does, stop and figure out what happened and why it happened so that you don't do it again. I can show a short clip of it breaking if you'd like me to, Kevin.
Maybe later on we'll get into
it.
Doug Miller's doing a demo.
I got to know though what happened.
Well, again, I've got to figure it out. So if you see here, and when you're turning those pieces like that, you've got grain going in all different directions.
Right.
So here is where a limb came in, and you have some ring shake or whatever there. There was a separation there, and when I came off of that, the best thing I can figure out is I had my bowl gouge just a little bit open, And when it came off of that, it caught right here. And when it caught there, that is exactly where the tool rest was. Because if you look at that,
Grainy.
it's not, there's no previous break or crack there. I mean, it sheared it off so quick and so fast that it was just unbelievable. And I can tell you, there was a lot of things I did wrong, but there was one thing I did right. I had just sharpened the gouge, and I was not shoving it into that bowl. So when it snapped, I'm still standing there holding the tool. I go, wow, you know, just natural reaction. It didn't go flying into the bowl or anything like that. It was just the way the grain caught it. And really, if you stop and think, that's one of the reasons why we tell people do not use a spindle roughing gouge on bowls. Because when that end grain comes around like that and it catches, there's a tremendous amount of force on whatever tool you're using. And of course, you can see how far I was over the tool rest. Here's the funny thing. It breaks.
Yeah, Beck.
I'm looking all over the shop to try to find this because I want to know what happened to it.
Yeah.
Right.
I had a little tray sitting up here with some sandpaper sitting right up against the headstock. This
Landed
came
right
down,
there.
hit the bed, and landed in that. And I really don't know how I found it. I just looked over there, and there it lay on top of a piece of sandpaper.
Dean, on that break, is the metal, when you look at the actual grain of the metal, is it nice and smooth and consistent, or is it grainy, looking like fine sand?
It looks really smooth.
And there's no dark colorations within that grain of the steel?
No, there's a couple of
dimples.
You can see right here where it kind of twisted off. It kind of looks like there might be, but really that's just the light hitting it.
I've had one tool break on me, and I know where Dane's going with this, because what happened to my tool, it was a square piece of stock that broke, the sharpened stock. And I used this tool for years without a problem. And one day it just snapped. And when we examined the metal closely, we found that there was a hidden flaw in the metal. Right. So I believe that's what Dane was asking about. Yes, because
that's where I'm.
Yep. Yeah, if there's one in there, I can't find it.
Okay. I mean, I bent several tools when I was first starting out, you know, so I would expect it to bend before I would expect it to break. You know what I'm saying?
Dean, where that little twist of the metal is, that's where there's a pocket or a dimple in there. It flaps on itself. It's just a metal working. It's forging.
You know, it could be Dane. I mean, it's just, I can tell you that that tool looks a little old. You can see it's a little discolored. I actually bought this from a friend of mine. His house and shop flooded during one of the floods a couple of years ago, and he had just bought those tools, and it flooded. Of course, it ruined the handles. His insurance paid off to buy new tools, and at that point in time, I was putting the Stuart Batty handle system on some of my tools. So he offered to sell them to me very cheap, so I bought them, and I've used that one off and on, and I've never had a problem with any of that. But
yeah, it's just a freak thing.
It's just kind of an odd thing.
And it's hard to tell. Those fractures are not readily visible from the outside. I know there's ways to look for them and all. I watched Hannes Milkinson. I went to one of his hat projects in 2003 or something at Aramont, and he was selling his own brand of gouges, and they had a little fingernail grind on them. They were more done like the Mark Slay slicing grind, and he was talking about it, and he says, "This is a good," and it hit the floor.
Oh no!
He was selling those tools.
Oh my God! Now that'll get you buyers quick, won't it?
Yeah, right.
I had a Thompson half-inch spindle gouge one time that broke like that, and I sent him, and there was a defect in the steel, a little bubble in it, and I sent him a picture of it. And he sent me one back, a brand new one, within 2 or 3 days, and said, "Well, just keep the old one." So
Yeah,
I was real happy with that.
When you're dealing with folks like that, not big box stores or big catalogs, you can get that kind of service. I mean, you're dealing with somebody whose name is on that project. It's their name.
Yeah, Doug straight up people.
Yeah. Doug is. He'll take care of his customers. That's for sure.
Somebody at SWAT a couple of years ago gave me some tools named Gladiator or Spartan or something like that, and he said, "You need to try these." They were such poor powdered steel that they wouldn't hold an edge.
Oh,
You get a pass and you have to touch it up. And I never saw the guy again, never saw the tools again. Might be a reason for that. All right. Reminding folks, if you don't know, and well, let's cap this. Last week was the AAW symposium in Chattanooga. From the photographs, it looks like a moderate to good turnout. Considering COVID and everything else going on, it's kind of hard to predict who's going to go where and what vendors are going to be able to go some places. SWAT is coming up August 26th, 27th, and 28th. It's in Waco, Texas. Personal opinion, it's the finest symposium in the world. A lot of people make it a must go. I do. I'm working out how to get there. I think we have that done. Billy's going to go. Billy's on his way.
Wild horses can't keep
Doors
me
down
away.
from Billy. Was that Billy?
I said, wild horses can't keep me away.
No. And there's a lot of other guys. I like it. It's like a family affair with family you like to visit with. And everybody knows everybody. AAW, there were about 1,000 attendees, according to Steve. Okay. Steve, the photographs AAW threw up doesn't look that busy. But hey, you know, it's how they took the photographs.
Yeah, there'll be that many or more at SWAT normally.
It'll be close. It will. They always run. They run neck and neck. But be careful how I say this. Some symposiums run for a different crowd than other ones. A different version of our work. You know, there's two sides of every fence. What I like at SWAT, all right, is you're going to bump in guys just like you, and they're going to have things turned just like you, and it's going to be on a gallery that's outstanding, beautiful. And if you got a question about it, you can talk to them about it. I've been to other symposiums. One said you can't pick up anything off the gallery table, or you can't question the turners about it. You know, they're protecting their turners. Doesn't happen at SWAT. You see somebody that turns wood, you grab them, and you don't hog time. Just grab them, and they'll talk to you. I love it. I love it. I'll see a lot of people all over again every time I go. I love it. And consider
Found a way there, Eddie.
I found that puddle jumper airline from New Orleans to Waco.
Oh, there you go.
Good
Yeah.
deal.
I wouldn't mind going to AAW, but I can't afford it.
My problem was it was rather expensive last time I was there, and that's it. But it's a fun event. It's a fun event. You're going to go look us up. SWAT's 1,200 miles from Patrick Hogarth. It's worth the trip. Hey. Yeah, you got to consider, I have to fly there because I can't drive anymore. So if one of y'all pass in the airport when I'm getting in, pick me up, you know, save me a cab fare. I went to one 10 years ago or so. I brought a good friend of mine with me, an excellent turner named Johnny Green. And we drove up and we pulled into the parking lot at the hotel and started to unload our stuff. And two guys were coming across the parking lot with a hand truck, like a cart. They just loaded up wood. And the guy said, "Hey, can we take your stuff in for you?" I said, "Sure." He said, "Come on, Cap, I'll put it over here." And Johnny says, "Who are those guys?" I said, "I have no idea, but they look like they're wood turners, and I trust wood turners. So let's go inside, you know." And that started, with Johnny, that started the weekend when he realized there was no hierarchy. And I love it. And Johnny was sneaky. When he wanted to talk to all those demonstrators, he invited them all to the bar at the Hilton on his tab. Now tell me they didn't show up.
They're wood turners, right?
They're wood turners, and they've been in the show all day. Yeah, he had a notepad and he was just going to it because Johnny was pretty much a novice at that time, but the work he turns out now, I haven't seen anybody else turn out.
Hey, Eddie, we got a couple for gallery here. Let's jump to them and then maybe get on to the demo.
I think we may have lost Eddie for a minute.
Okay,
Who's first,
well,
Dane? Who's first, Dane?
Let's go to Joe Cheney. Joe, if you're there, go ahead and start talking.
I got him.
I got this little thing Cindy inspired. I think you all know who Cindy is.
Yep.
Some of her turnings, and I kind of like the idea. It's the bowl is made out of cherry pearl, about 6 inches across. The total height is about 10 inches. And the bottom is one of the local elm trees
Hold it
around
up a
here.
little higher. Can you hold it up a little higher, Joe? Right on. There you go.
There you go.
Pretty.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Yes. Gorgeous.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I haven't
Yeah, it looks
put
good.
a final finish on it yet. It's been a little humid out here in New Mexico, which is kind of unusual.
Right. Our monsoons are coming early, aren't they, out here in this area?
So I saw one of the things that Cindy had done and I liked it, so I try to do
I
something
think you did it
close
better
to
than Cindy. Good job.
Yes, very nice. Very nice.
Excellent.
Hey, where in New Mexico are you?
outside of Albuquerque.
Okay, I was just there last week, and that was my first time spending any amount of time in Albuquerque. It's pretty cool. I went to Albuquerque and Santa Fe.
Hey, Joe, I'm in Rio Rancho.
I'm in Tajares, about 15 minutes from Albuquerque.
Dang, I wish I would have known. I'd have stopped in and said, hey.
I'm waiting for my new present to come, but I'll talk about it when it gets here.
There you go. Sounds good. Thanks,
somebody's,
Joe.
somebody's getting a new lathe, aren't they?
Getting a new toy.
Nice.
It's a different one.
Nothing wrong with that.
Hey,
Well, let's
Bob,
go to Bob since he's sleeping.
Wake up, Bob.
Okay.
Are you
Mid snore?
They have to mark it away.
Wow.
Look at that.
That's fantastic.
That's the back of it.
Ooh, I love that.
That is gorgeous.
That's a tiny little platter.
Yeah, it's a tiny thing. And
20 inches
Yes.
diameter.
Pretty.
And I had to do the
Wow.
offset turning on the club's one-way lathe. I couldn't do it on the Powermatic.
let's talk about the finish.
Hold it
You're
back up
staining.
and talk about the finish. You're staining.
Do what?
Hold it back up and talk about
What's your
finish
finish,
and
Bob?
staining.
Yeah, let's see how long you can hold that.
Brenda got where I was going.
Hey,
What all
Bob, how
colors
did
you
the
got?
birds get in that?
This is done just like I did that demo a couple months back.
Is it getting heavy?
Nice.
Is
It's
it
cool.
good,
It
Bob?
is. What'd you finish it with, Bob?
It's 3 coats of Minwax antique oil, and then 3 or 4 coats of lacquer on top of that.
Nice.
And for
Yes.
colors, you use what again?
See, I'm going green now.
I see
A
that.
green shirt and green in my wood turning.
What kind of coloring agents are you using again, Bob?
This was Josiah paint,
Oh, okay.
and this was dye, and this was dye, and that was dye. Aniline
beautiful.
dyes.
What kind of
You
wood
did
was
a
it?
beautiful job on that.
Yeah, it's really
What was
pretty.
what was the starting piece? Was it,
What
what kind of wood?
I can't hear you.
What
What
kind of
kind
wood,
of
Bob?
wood?
One at a time.
Dane?
What kind of wood? What kind of wood?
Oh, it's maple.
Okay. Nice job, Bob.
Came
Turn
from
it
a
over.
tree.
Turn it over, Bob.
Well, let him put that thing down. It looks like he's struggling.
Right? Yeah, you can put it down, Bob.
This takes a while. This took a while to do. The
I
coloring
would
is the
imagine.
hardest part of it.
Yeah. I like how you did the
Very
texturing, and the texturing almost looks like scales.
Yeah.
What kind of animals you see in there, Brenda?
Well, it looks like a snake going around that big blue snake.
And then that's the ocean. This is the ocean on this side.
Yeah.
That
It
looks
looked like a
good.
baby bunny in there earlier.
That's cool.
That was some of
Really
the
cool.
Josiah paints.
Yeah, that's
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
How would you hang that?
Very carefully.
Well, besides that,
With a
Pretty
great
much
big
drywall
nail.
screw through the
Probably
boot.
put it on a shelf.
oh, okay. All right.
16 penny nail do it.
I was hoping you weren't going to say drive a
Duplex.
nail through it.
Yeah. 16 duplex. Use them on concrete.
Well, should we wait for Eddie to come back in, or Doug, should we go ahead and get you started so you got time?
Oh,
I'm
Dane,
ready anytime.
Andy posted a lid for a box that he did on Facebook today. He
There's
should
Eddie
do a
back.
demo
There he
on
is.
that.
Who did that, Bob?
Wait a minute.
Captain
Hey,
Eddie?
hey, Bob. Bob,
Who did?
your signal's blanking out. Okay.
We heard it, Cap.
Can't unhear a bell. Thank you, Bob.
All right.
Go back to
Bob,
Bob.
that's pretty.
Glad to be of service.
Oh, Eddie, welcome back.
I was back for a little bit. My CS connection gave up, and I had to go to my
No
cell phone
worries.
to get back in. So, are we ready to go for our demo at 10 after the hour?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're
Let's
ready
go.
to go.
Let's
Bring Doug up. Everybody, this is Doug Rowe in Kentucky.
Oh, not Doug Rowe.
Doug Rose in Arizona.
Doug Miller.
The other Doug Miller in
All right.
Kentucky.
All right. All right.
Gonna mute everybody.
Yeah, Doug, you may have to come back to us in one moment. We just
Okay.
muted everybody, and okay.
There we go.
The way we work this, members, is we mute everybody doing a demonstration so that we do not get background sounds. It's not that we don't want to limit your questions or comments, but we'd prefer if you let the demonstrator do his demonstration without saying, yeah, but you know what? Hold on to that for a little bit. First, I want to see Doug do this piece of wood. I really do. It's a beautiful piece. I think he's going to give us a fantastic job. Go for it, Doug.
Okay. A couple weeks ago, I was looking through YouTube and Facebook like I normally do, and I was seeing, I think there's a couple of clubs across the country that are doing round bottom bowl challenges for the club. And I was seeing a lot of them, and they just kind of intrigued me. I've seen them from time to time, and I just never thought about it. We usually want our bowls to sit real nice and steady. So we put some kind of a concave bottom on it in some way so that it sits steady. But these round bottom bowls are just kind of neat because they will They'll sit there and wiggle, and they'll spin. They'll do all kind of fun stuff. So I've done several. That was probably the first one I did. That's just I pulled up some cherry that's been laying around here. It was a split off a bowl that I did, and so I got a couple of blanks. Did that one, and I did this one. This one's even rounder. Wobble's even better. And I did this one yesterday, I believe it was. Just trying to get ready for tonight. Again, just nice and round. You can see there the bottom is, get my hand turned around. The bottom's just nice and smooth. It's round. Very simple. Then I did one more today, piece of oak. Eddie was talking about dunnage a while ago. This is some oak dunnage that I picked up a couple years ago. Recycling place up the road here. It cost me nothing. I brought home just piles of it. I finally cut it up into smaller blanks so I can use it. But there again, it wiggles and wobbles. That has no finish on it yet. I get so there's no glare on it, so you can see that it actually is a round bottom. Anyway, that's what we're going to do tonight. I called Eddie the other day. I said, which would you rather me do? And he said, let's do the round bottom bowl. And then Dane texted me yesterday and said, let's do round bottom and abrasive paste. And so if I have time, that's what we'll do. I showed you for the last couple of weeks, black limba. I've got these 5 blanks. They're all 4 by 2, 4 inches diameter, 2 inches thick. And so my plan is to do 5 different styles of turning. I've done a box. I've done a bowl with a rim on it. This one will be a round bottom bowl, more of a calabash style. So that's what we're going to do. Let me just kind of jump right in. All the normal safety stuff, no rings. I've taken my ring off. It's in my pocket. I do have there it is. Got my face shield. I'll be pulling it down as I start. Tools are sharp. I've sharpened 3, 4 bowl gouges. I don't think I'll need, but this is one. And I'll use this bowl gouge, and I will use the Easy Wood Tools Easy Finisher just to clean up the bottom on the inside where the gouge has a hard time getting around that inside curve. And so let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do is just kind of square up this side, and I'll start the rounding process before I put it, even as I put a tenon on here. So let's get going. Face shield down. Run the speed up to 1200. Okay. Gotta get these bowls off of here. There we go. Now I was doing a little pull cut. Now I'm going to go to a push cut. One more time. All right. So we're round that way. It's nice and smooth. Can y'all hear me now okay? Dane, are you hearing me?
We're doing good with you.
Okay. Just making sure, because I got the face shield down, but I do have this mic underneath the face shield, and it sounds hollow to me. But anyway, now let's work on the bottom. One pass just to square it up. All right, I did lie to you just a little bit. I'm going to use my skew just to get a ever so slight dovetail on that tenon. Make sure I'm good and square. That's all it is. I'm just going to clean up the bottom of the tenon just a hair, just to make sure I don't have anything to give me trouble down the road. That's not much of a tenon. It's pretty small. But on these little pieces, I found that I just don't need a whole lot of tenon to hold it and be secure. Oh, I didn't tell you, I've got this on a wormwood or a worm screw. There we go. Thought twice a while ago I needed to stop and tell you that, but I didn't. Just a simple hole drilled in the center, put on the worm screw, and it works beautifully. Seems to be a whole lot of discussion out there right now about the chuck. People, you got to have this chuck, you got to have that chuck. This is one of the original Nova chucks, the 2 bars. There's the one that I'm not using, the old crooked thing that hooks on the main body, and this one does the the adjusting side. But I just use my spindle lock, and that works great. That lets me do it one-handed. I just have to remember to unlock my spindle. Kind of important. Just that, so I get my angle. I do have my headstock turned. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? This just gives it so I don't have to reach out across the bed of the lathe. Again, we're just going to make one pass across to get it nice and square. Oh, and you know what? I forgot. I did not start my rounding on that other side. Which is okay. I can fix that. That also gives me an opportunity to show that worm screw. So many people do it incorrectly. I see people get it straight or started, and then they push it in all the way. They push it in that little bit. Pull it out when you get it close. Give it a little shake back and forth, side to side. Make sure it's set in there good. And if it's pulled out, so it's like hitting the back side of your jaws, it won't come loose later on you. There we go. All right. Now we can up my lathe, move my tool rest up a little closer. All right. I'm going to readjust my tool rest again. Come back to my back side here. You won't be able to see much of this, but you'll see the results. Yeah, you'll see the results back here on that side. Again, we've talked in the past about working with the grain, so that's why I want to start back here toward the cut, so that as I'm coming out, I'm still working with the grain. Using a shear scrape to get off some of the stuff that we typically will sand off, but if I don't have to sand it, I'm not going to. A little lump right here between the two halves, coming up from the bottom and going down from the top, and just want to straighten that up before I turn it around. Still a little lump right there. You can feel it more than I can see it. Okay. Like I said, it takes longer to do the sanding and finishing than it does to turn them. Whether it was cherry or whether it was oak, they've been the same. And this black limba is no different. Turns quite quickly, especially at this size. 4x2 is just not a whole lot of wood. So it makes for not only fun, fast projects, but it also it's inexpensive. These blanks, I got these 5 black limba blanks, and this is an African hardwood. They came to $5 a piece. So that's pretty cheap for an exotic. Okay. Check, we're all clear. I'm going to start in the center, but I'm going to work back to the rim. Oh, turn these sides fairly thin. I'm not going to do them cave thin, but I'm going to go pretty thin.
Just so you know, Cade's watching.
Okay. 8, I'm not going down to 1/16.
I don't go cave thin either, Doug. It's all right.
Oh, either way, it doesn't matter.
Or as we saw tonight, Matt Harbor thin.
Yeah, I'm cool with having a level of thinness named after me.
Oh, we didn't name a funnel after you.
I got a T-shirt for that.
Oh, okay. How good his slices are coming off there. Not a lot of impact on a piece. He's slicing it very nicely.
Using my digital calipers to see where I'm at.
Metric or standard?
because that side it's thicker here than it is at the rim. I'm going to come from the center out to that transition area, get some of this meat out of the bottom. You can see there, that's, I'm getting pretty good shavings, even though technically I'm going backwards. Yeah, we're in good shape.
Now, I really like using a pull cut on the thinner pieces. You can take really light cuts, clean up your edge that way.
All right. I think I'm to the place of using that carbide. Yep. Somebody asked me, they sent me a message after seeing one of my texts or one of my videos where I use this tool. They said, "What easy wood tool is that?" They didn't recognize it. They'd never seen one with a red handle, but that is an easy wood handle. There it is. This is one of the originals. The guy who developed them he was still looking at putting a contract with Craft Supply when I got this one. So this has been around a while. I do have a nice fresh cutter on it.
I have to comment here. Watch what he's doing with it, folks. That is being used sort of like a very, very good scraper. Now pay attention to how the bar is being presented. I created a term for this, Doug. It's called bias cut.
Yeah.
For those who have asked in chat tonight, am I still selling cutters? I'm going out of business. What I have, that'll be it. It's becoming a conflict in my life, so I use them just like Doug is using his.
I guess that means I'm going to have to order a couple more bars from you then.
Yeah, and consider this, everything's at 1/2 price.
I thought that's what I heard you say last week.
Yeah, no snow.
I missed that part.
Not fibbing about it. It's not a hype. Been told medically it's got to happen, or mentally it's got to happen. So I like the way that's slicing. Look at that.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm just feeling to make sure I'm close to even. I've still got a fair amount of meat down in the bottom of this bowl. And if you guys that don't use these things, if you start using them, don't be tempted to do like you do with your bowl gouge and swipe it, get all the dust off the very tip. You'll slice your hand wide open and not even know it.
I've done that on my bowl gouge. What do you mean?
Yeah, you can do that. My first of these carbides was the CI1, the semi-round one. And first time I used it for about 20 minutes and was wiping the dust off, and lo and behold, there was red stuff on my wood. And I said, "What in the world?" And I looked at my hand. I had about 15 or 20 cuts. Didn't even know it.
This is why the gods gave us air compressors, you guys.
Do what? What'd you say?
I said, this is why the gods gave us air compressors to blow that stuff off with.
There you go.
But at the same time, he gave us lungs we don't want to breathe it into, so protect yourselves.
Yeah. I do have, I don't know if you can hear it or not. I've got my air cleaner on. Don't have the vacuum on. It's just, I can't hear myself when that thing's on. But I do have the air cleaner on. It's about, well, it's exactly 5 feet in front of me. So it's cleaning the fine dust that floats around so bad. All right. Trying to see where we are on time. What is it, about 8:30 or 7:30 Central?
Yeah.
You have plenty of time, Doug. You have plenty of time.
All right. I'm going to make one more pass across that bottom. It's got some waves across there.
Got to look at it this way. We either get a demonstration or a bunch of lies. Let's go for the demonstration.
Oh, that's better. Okay, since we got this kind of time, I'm not going to do a super thorough sanding. I can come back and do that later, but I am going to do a cursory sanding just so I can get to the abrasive paste.
If you need more time, it's only 5:30 in Pacific time.
Okay, so I've got 4 more hours, right?
Don't ask Donald what time it is. Don't ask Donald.
No, it's early in the morning there.
Doug, you got plenty of time. You don't have to worry about being rushed.
Hey, that took, what did that take? 20, that took probably 20 minutes or so to turn. It's going to take at least 30 minutes to sand and then another 10 or so to do the abrasive paste if I do a thorough job on the sanding. But what I'll do is kind of cursory, do enough so you can see what we're talking about, and then I'll come back later and resand it. In fact, I'll probably turn it some more. That's still a little thick on it on that side for my taste. That's something else we probably don't mention nearly enough. The thickness of your walls in a turning, for the most part, that's personal preference. Some people, you'll have some customers out there who really like a thin wall. They want it paper thin. And that's great, especially for those guys who like to turn that thin. There are other customers out there who won't look at a thin piece. They want something that's got 3/8 or a 1/2 inch thick. I see one that thick and I think, oh my goodness, somebody forgot to do the rest of the turning. But that's what they like to do, and that's fine. I don't want them paper thin anymore. That's what I started out doing 20 years ago. But if I were to cut this in half, that'd take it down to about a 1/16. I don't need it quite that thin. I just want a little bit more off of it, not a whole lot. I do need to bring the tool rest back up here. I forgot to do my rim. In fact, let me just do that real quick.
Woodturners love seeing things that are really thin, and it's fun to do. But the general populace is afraid to touch things that are too thin. They think it's too delicate. So
especially women.
Yeah, if it's for sale, if you want to sell it, make it a little thicker. People will be much happier, even if they just use it for decoration.
Yeah. I just put a little chamfer going into the bowl there, and that will give the illusion of it being a little thinner. It's one way I satisfy my own mind a little bit. All right. No. All right. There's a little bit of little fine tear out there, so I'm going to reverse it. Oh, that feels better already. All right. That was 60 grit, just to kind of straighten up any of my mistakes and errors and whatnot. Come back with 100 grit. Getting ready to change my sanding routine a little bit. 60 grit is awfully coarse, awfully aggressive. I'm going to change my routine or my protocol. 80 grit is going to be my bottom. And then I'll go 120, 180, 240, 320. Partly because that works out better mathematically. Russ Fairfield was mentioned earlier, and he was the one that always told me everything should step up by half of what you do. So like 80, half of 80 is 40. 40 and 80 is 120. So I'll go 80 to 120. Half of 120 is 60. So 120 and 60 is 180. So that'll be my third grit. So then I'll work my way on up. After 180, you really, that doesn't hold water anymore. All right, let's reverse this again. Come back to forward. By switching direction, what we do is we get those hairs that are pushed down in one direction. We're going to lift them back up and cut them back off by going the other direction. So I don't always switch on every grit. Sometimes I'll switch every other grit. Sometimes I'll do one or do two grits in one direction, next two in the other direction, and then come back to forward in my final 320.
How fast are you going there, Doug?
I'm sorry?
How fast?
What was your question?
RPMs there?
500. And and let me say this: most of you understand it, I think, but I think it bears good for us to say it once in a while. When we look at our RPM meters, if we have one, and it says 500 on there, we have to understand that's relative. Those things are not very accurate as a rule. This lathe is a belt change lathe, and then I have added the variable speed controller and motor, and it doesn't matter at this RPMs right now, the motor, I've got 6 different belt positions, and it'll still say 500 on there, no matter what belt I put it on. So that 500 is relative. But Dean, I think in answering your question, I think what I've done is I have worked with it enough where I think I'm pretty close to the actual speed at this point. It may be off 10 or 15 RPMs. That's all.
But the number doesn't matter. It's you've brought the machine speed down to where the paper can cut instead of burnish.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think you've seen a lot of dust coming off with every grit so far.
If you don't see that, folks, you're burnishing. Look at the cloud.
Yeah, as I'm turning right out here, you should be able to see a cloud of dust periodically anyway. And if I had the vacuum on, this is my vacuum, and you know, it would be sucking it right up.
Yeah, we can see it, Doug. Or I can, at least. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah. Well, I'm shooting this on my iPhone, and I've got my iPad just behind it so I can see what's going on. and I could see it on my iPad. So there you go. With it going reverse, you can really see it.
Yes, you can.
What grade are you on now?
I am up to 150. And really, you know, there's no reason to rush this process. I hate the sand. I'll be the first to tell you I hate it. But I've also found out that the better job I do at sanding, the better my finish is. And, you know, as much as I hate sanding, I love a good finish. Phew. Oh, there goes all my
Get that
sandpaper.
smock dirty. Please don't get that smock dirty.
This one, I've told my wife I need a new one so bad. I mean, this is freshly washed. It's just from so much dust and glue and finish and everything else being on it.
Mine looks just like it.
Yeah. So many of them do.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
No. Some of you guys have been in some of the demos and chats that I've been in with the guys from England. Wayne Clasper has one, a smock that thing must be 20 years old. Pockets hanging off of it. It's discolored, but he will not put it away. He's got a brand new one. Pretty amazing.
I have one that's gorgeous with a lot of embroidery and all, but it shrunk when I washed it.
All right, I got to step over here where I blew my sandpaper off. Got to pick up my 240 and 320. Ah. All right. If these had been used, I would have left them laying and picked up, gone in my box and gotten some fresh, but these are all brand new. Okay, we're up to 240 now. I'm looking at it even as it's spinning, and I can see my sanding lines getting finer and finer, and that's the whole point. I'll never forget the demo I went to. I went primarily, well, the only reason I went that night was because Russ Fairfield was the demonstrator. I knew he would turn something, but I knew even more importantly than that, he would be showing his sanding technique. He turned a plate, about an 8 or 9 inch plate, no finish whatsoever, not even sanding sealer, just sanding it. He finished with a horsehair brush, sent it around, and you could not find a scratch anywhere. He sanded, he went through his grits. He ended up with, he did 800 grit sandpaper, and then he did a piece of brown paper bag. And then he did a horsehair brush. His claim was that brown paper bag is equal to 1,000 grit.
Didn't somebody say that last week? Didn't somebody say that last week in the meeting?
Yeah, but always liking the brown bag to 800 grit.
Yeah. That's what I've heard most people say, but Russ would always say 1,000 grit. And that's where he would finish. Well, he finished sanding at that point, but then he used a horsehair brush, it looked like a shoe brush.
Yeah, the
and that
grit
thing
depends on if
shine,
you've
it
got
would
a
shine
Piggly
like it had
Wiggly
lacquer
or
on it.
Kroger bag.
Toothbrush works great too in place of it.
What's
Well,
that?
my goal with my cuts is to not have to is to start sanding no lower than 220. So sometimes I can get there.
Granted,
The only issue you have with that is that, you know, if there's anything in that wood, you're not getting it out. You're leaving it. If you have a burnish mark, 220 is not going to typically take out a burnish mark.
Right, but if you've
But
got
I
a
know
good
what-
clean tool cut, that my point is if you got a good clean tool cut, then you don't have to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Yeah. No, you're right. I'm not arguing at all. It's just my tool cuts are not that great yet. I've only been doing this 20 years. I can't quite get there.
It looked pretty clean to me, Doug. I don't know.
I figure if you
Well,
got to
then
start
again-
sanding with a brick, you probably need to work on your cutting.
All right. Well, let it lay this time. Okay.
You don't need that grit.
Well, I was done. That, just to feel it, I'm sorry you guys can't feel it. That feels good. But we've blown it. And just for the sake of argument, I'm going to take some denatured alcohol and give it a little wipe just to clean it. Oh, there's my version of the paper towel holder. Let's see, you can't see it, can you? There it
Oh,
is.
yeah. Is that one of those painted cut? Is it a plain coat hanger or a painted one?
Oh, it's just a plain wire one.
All right.
And I took my roll of half sheets over to the bandsaw and I cut them in half on the bandsaw. So these are quarter sheets that I'm pulling off. Then I cut them, I pull off several, cut them, fold them over and cut them in half. Now, then I'll take that and I'll fold it several times. Well, let's see, let's just fold that one a couple of times. Get some alcohol on here. I'll wipe that dust, what little bit's left. Wipe it out of there. You see the brown?
Yes.
That's the residue dust that was in that wood even after I blew it. I started watching some of those guys in England and they religiously wiped it with alcohol. I finally said, why in the world are you wasting, of course they're calling it meths, methylated spirits. Same idea though. Anyhow, they getting the dust out. I'm thinking, why don't you blow it out first? That'll save you a little bit. That doesn't take long at all. It's dry. You can watch it. While it's drying, I'm picking up my sanding sealer. Billy, this is our stuff, man. Deft lacquer sanding sealer. Heard some guy named Captain Eddie talk about it on the internet one day.
It's a great sanding seat.
Took me a month of Sundays to find any. Guess where I found it? Ace Hardware Store.
I said that before. And if they don't have it, they'll get it for you.
Yes, sir. They have to get a case. They can't get a can. But they have never balked at it at all. If I say I want a can, they'll order it. They'll tell me it's coming in. I have to pay for it ahead of time, but I don't care. I want it anyway.
If you really want it, you ask the store owner. Don't ask a salesman. Ask a store owner. They don't like passing up sales.
Oh, right. No, they'll get it. My guys have not hesitated yet. Anytime I've asked them to order something, whether it's Deft mineral spirits or a Deft lacquer sanding sealer or the lacquer, either one, a tap or a die, drill bit, they take me straight over to the counter. We order it up. I have to pay for it ahead of time. But like I said, I want it anyway. If I didn't want it, I wouldn't be ordering it. So,
Mine
believe it or
ordered
not, that's dry.
My corner ace ordered me a 14-inch draw knife that I wanted.
Sweet.
Can't get that at the big box stores, folks. You can't get that at the big box stores.
No, they don't even know what you're talking about.
Neighborhood hardwood.
This is my abrasive paste. This jar is just about gone. I've got another one sitting over here though. So I'm okay. The whole
Which
idea
brand?
here is I'm sorry?
Which brand name?
This is Axe.
All right.
There are a
Yeah, so
couple
explain your
of
process. Explain your process here, Doug.
yeah, there are a couple of these guys who here in the United States that make abrasive paste. Tom Ackerley is just one of them. He's in Pennsylvania, sells the abrasive paste and the wax together as a kit. All I'm doing is getting some on here and wiping it on. I want a good even coverage. Want plenty on there. I don't have to be extravagant with it, but I also don't want to be stingy with it. And then I'm going to turn my lay speed down to about 200, somewhere in that neighborhood anyway. And I'm going to use the section that I applied with. Well, let's get it going forward so I don't confuse myself. I'm going to use that same section. And what I'm doing, this is like sanding. The abrasive paste will start somewhere in the neighborhood of 320, 240, 320, somewhere in there. And as the abrasive breaks down, you end up with about 1,000 grit sanding process. So all I'm doing now is allowing that abrasive to work on that wood. Whatever the abrasive component is, as you continue to work it and you speed the lathe up here a bit, it is breaking down, just getting finer and finer and finer. This could be diatomaceous earth, it could be pumice, it could be all sorts of things. I'm kind of listening and feeling that abrasive is already starting to break down. I'm going to go ahead and speed up. It's going up to 400. Still using that same portion of my paper towel. Some people might like to use cloth, little small cut up t-shirts or what have you. I did. In fact, I've got a whole basket of cut up t-shirts over on the other side of the shop that I used to use an awful lot. But there's just so much risk of, you have a little crack that develops and it can grab that cloth real easy. And if you're not careful, you have your fingers wrapped up in that cloth. I've never had an issue, but I've seen people have issues. And so I just don't take the chance. Use paper towel. Let the paper towel get torn away instead of your finger getting torn away.
All right, thank you, Doug, for mentioning that, because I got into the paper towel only when a good friend of mine, an older feller, was doing that. He got a catch. The tenon damage was such that he can't turn any longer.
Yeah, yeah.
So Band-Aids don't fix that. So
No. All right, I'm going to speed up. There's 600. I'm just going to flip over. There's my dirty section. I'm going to go over to the clean section and continue. Still just letting the paste do its work. I am not, I'm putting a little pressure on it, but it's not absorbent. It's not like I'm trying to force anything into the wood. I'm just wanting the abrasive to do its job. And every time
What's your speed on doing that?
I'm up to 600 now. Dane, one of the things I've discovered with this, I heard people say it, but then I've experimented with it as well. The speed as you turn it up doesn't matter. Just that you're increasing the speed, and then you change the part of your paper towel that you're using. It does two things. One, the speeding up and the more friction causes that abrasive to break down further. Your clean paper towel section is helps. It's starting to remove the excess abrasive and also removes the beeswax, the mineral oil that's in here. I've said on several of my videos
isn't it more acting like a friction polish?
Not exactly.
Well, maybe. Yeah, not exactly. Toward the end, maybe more so, but at the beginning, you got an awful lot of abrasive paste or abrasive in here. So you're actually sanding. None of the manufacturers that I've seen have said anything about this being a finish. This is a part of the sanding process.
Right.
So I'm going to get another
wax. With it being a wax base, it's still on the wood grain. Wax.
To some extent. There again, you got your beeswax that is the carrier for the abrasive. You got the mineral oil that is softening agent for the beeswax. And we're going to end up having most all of that gone before we're done. I'm going to continue this process until I get no residue on this paper towel. If I'm getting residue, there's still abrasive paste on this piece of wood. But it's getting very smooth at this point.
Yeah, if I'm going to use lacquer or something after I've used the abrasive paste, I always strip it all back with denatured alcohol.
Absolutely. Oh. All right, I'm still getting residue. I'm up to 1,200 at this point. And the other thing, I do add a little bit of pressure every time I speed it up. I add just a touch of pressure, and I think that's more psychological than anything.
Seeing the shine come off it now.
Yeah. Well, if I just did this, if I just sanded with regular sandpaper up to 1,000, I'd be getting a shine off of it like that too. This is darkened up a little bit because of the mineral oil and the beeswax that's in it. Of course, the sanding sealer darkened it a little bit. Well, one thing you did not see me do, you did not see me denib after the sanding sealer, and that's because I put the abrasive paste on. Some people do. There's nothing wrong with denibbing it. All right, we're starting to come off clean now.
Denibbing? I'm sorry, what is that?
Extremely light sanding. When I'm going to do something like that, I will typically use a 3M pad, these abrasive pads. That one's full of dust. It's been sitting around. I've got a surplus of them. But yeah, some people use 600 grit sandpaper. Some people go to 1,000 grit sandpaper just to take the little fuzz off that comes up anytime you raise the grain. The
application of sanding sealer raises the grain a bit.
Yes. It's exactly where I was going, Matt. The alcohol does, but so does the sanding sealer. This is the Axe Restoring and Polishing Paste. It's white in the can because it's everything is. His claim is that everything is laboratory grade. This is carnauba wax mixed with beeswax and mineral oil. Who am I to doubt the manufacturer, right?
For those asking private messages, somebody will put the link to Axe in the chat tonight if you have questions on it. And there are a couple other notes on here about how to make your own in your own shop. In fact, Tim Hatch got in trouble using his wife's crock pot to make some.
Look right there on the top, guys.
Oh, that thing is flashing. Look at
a little bit of chatoyance.
Gorgeous.
You can see the chatoyance all the way to Florida.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, I'm going to slow back down. I'm going to go back down to what? 400. just work that wax in a little bit. And this wax is like almost all other waxes. Less is more. You don't need a whole lot. Spread it on there thin. Work it a bit until it gets just a little bit tacky. And once it does, what that tells you is that the solvents that are in there, whatever they might be, have flashed off a bit. Supposedly, this wax has no chemical solvents. The solvent that is in here is beeswax, is what Tom says.
So it's food safe.
He claims it is. In fact, supposedly, there are several of the manufacturers, Eddie, who have taken their product, put it on a piece of toast and eaten it. That's what they want to do, fine.
I can't have butter anymore. I can no longer have butter, but I'm not going that way.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have strawberry jam than carnauba wax. I've got this running at 1400 right now, just buffing it. Not a lot of pressure, not building a lot of heat. I don't want to melt it. I don't want to rub it off. I want the wax to stay. I just want to help it cure. And this will cure. If I leave this sit and come back this time tomorrow and put another coat on it, it will be night and day. Because then I'm putting wax on top of wax and not mixing 2 layers of wax. Because I don't remember who said it now, Matt or Billy One, if I was going to do lacquer after the abrasive paste before the wax, I would get it wiped down good. Then I'd come back with a coat of or with a paper towel full of denatured alcohol. I clean that off real good. And then the lacquer would stick to it without any problem. Okay, we got one more little process here. They come to a stop. Well, before I stop it, bing, bing. Love that flash. Okay. I'm going to turn it right around. I'm going to open these jaws up inside of that. Heard the question yesterday, how tight do you tighten up that chuck when you're expanding into the piece itself? And the standard answer is, of course, till just before it cracks the first time.
That's my answer too.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could know? That would be a super if we could know. All right, did it again. Got to unlock it before you turn it on. There we go. Now, we've got the tenon on here. We want to make this a round bottom. Light cuts. Just a little bit right here in the center. Used to be amazed at how people would say, oh, I've got just a little hump here. They were seeing it. I could not see it. I couldn't feel it, but they were seeing it. Well, I've come to a place now where I'm seeing more than I ever did when I was younger. but my vision is not any better, I can promise you. Well, that won't work.
Well, nowadays, you know what you're looking for.
Well, that's part of it, Eddie. You learn how to look. I think part of it too is learning how to place your lights in your shop. I've got fluorescent, incandescent, and LED right overhead. All of those are on now.
My fingers always feel more than my eyes ever see.
Exactly, Billy. That's the other part of it. You can feel it long before you can see it.
An old trick I learned a long time ago was take a common pencil, lay it on a piece, especially the outsides, lay it on a piece and flex it along, just roll it around and with your fingers on the pencil, and you will feel every depression and every bump magnified with that. See, right, when you do that, right there.
Just like that.
You'll feel every bump, every divot. If it doesn't go
Sure
smooth,
will.
it's not smooth.
I've slowed the lathe back down to 435 at this point. This is 100 grit. 60 degree or 60 grit went flying somewhere. I see it now. I think that might be the 320. One of the nice things about slowing down, not only is it more efficient to sand at a slower speed, but as you can see, most of the dust, especially these heavier grits, most of your dust goes straight down. I'm seeing a little bit that's floating over and coming back toward the chuck even, but most of it is going straight down.
That's what my very effective dust avoidance fan is for.
Yeah, you have one overhead, don't you?
Yeah, a little bitty 6-inch fan blows straight down.
Right. That was 100. This is 150. And I'm just touching this edge between the raw wood and the waxed wood. Partly because if I get too much into that waxed wood, it's going to gum up my sandpaper. It'll blow out, but we're good there. 240.
Members, this is Doug Miller doing a demonstration on a round-bottomed bowl. If you're just joining us, we've been at this since it was a block of wood, and we're taking it all the way through a finish with, Doug is using Axe products to finish it with. We have a couple of notes. Aren't we overdriving that Axe product? No, there are about a dozen products out there. You can make your choice which one you like to use. We happen to be using the product by Axe right now. Doesn't mean you can't be happy with the other one. Why not?
There are loads of them out there, and they're all so very similar. I started off using Shop Made, and I use that. I had one jar. I think it was a 8 or 9 ounce, 9 ounce jar that I used for over a year. It's closer to a year and a half that I used that jar, and finally ran out of it. I wanted to try this Axe, so that's what I did. I've gone to Axe, and I'm just finishing up my first jars of it, and I've got I won a sample kit, so I'll use my sample kit before I move on. That sanding sealer. Lacquer sanding sealer. And that's just because I like it. That's all. No real rhyme or reason.
And the product is using this from DEFT. It can be purchased on Amazon or at Ace Hardware stores through PPG Paint Company.
I was looking for some of the aerosol, and I got the Deft, and I found one company that had, it seemed like a ridiculously cheap price. Lo and behold, it's the company that makes Deft. So I got 2 cans from them for what Amazon was going to sell me 1 can, but then I had to pay the shipping on top of that. So don't think you have to go with Amazon either.
You're going to share that with us, right?
Matt, I would, but I'd have to go look it up.
Yeah, I know. When you get a chance, because some of us were having trouble finding the Def lacquer online, the lacquer sanding sealer.
Right.
I can't even find it locally, let alone online.
Right. If I'm lucky, my local
Ace Hardware Management.
Okay, Dan.
Gary, that place that you told me, I've been talking to them, and they've been checking their supplier, and right now, in theory, it's supposed to be in the end of the month, tomorrow, in theory. But they've already passed one of those. But I'd let everybody know if they actually come up with it.
That's what we're here for, folks. Sharing information.
Yeah, PPG Agricultural Finishes in Pittsburgh, PA. Well, it's manufactured for them. I think I got it from the actual manufacturer. I'll look that up, Matt, and put it in the chat if I can find it before we get done tonight.
Much appreciated. If not, next week will be fine.
Yeah. Or I guess I could, if I was a really good guy, I could send it to Dave and have him put it on the website, couldn't I?
That would work.
Dave's going to find out anyway. You can't keep the secret from Dave.
No, that's true. Okay, I'm up to 1,000 on this bottom, and it's starting to get extremely smooth. That's what you're after. You want to continue buffing until it just gets really smooth. It's almost a shame to put wax on it, but we're gonna. I want it to look like the other 2 pieces. I say the other 2 pieces. The other 2 pieces of black limba that I've already done. And I'll show those to you here in just a few minutes. Back down to 200. Shoo. I can't imagine having to go back to a belt change lathe now that I've had this for a couple of years. I love turning that knob and changing my speed.
I do too.
It's real easy to get spoiled in that.
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. Yes.
Took me about 2 sessions in the shop with this new system to get spoiled by it. But when I got it, when I ordered it, Jeff Horning and I talked about it for a long time, and he said, "You'll never go back." He's right. I'm looking at my Nova Mercury over there across on the other side, and it's variable speed. But I can't believe that I went all that time with this belt change. But I did, and I enjoyed it, but I turned an awful lot at 1 speed. And I never got over 1,000. Now I routinely go 14 to 1,600 RPMs. It's like this is 1,200 now.
Yeah, I even converted my old Delta 10-inch MIDI to variable speed as soon as I got the chance.
Yeah. Again, I will Put more wax on this baby tomorrow. There's the bowl that I did. There's the box that I showed you last week or week before.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Here we go.
Oh,
That's
perfect.
nice, Doug.
Nice little round bottom bowl.
Great demo, buddy.
Thank you for a wonderful
That's
demo.
nice, Doug.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
It
Very
was,
nice.
Look at the Shatoy. Thing is gorgeous.
I love how those spin around.
There you
Yeah,
go.
the
Now you're
Shatoyans
showing
has
off.
It's a great job, Doug.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
That's right. That's right. Now, full disclosure, I leave a little bit of weight in the bottom of that round bottom because I do want it to wobble. I really do not want it to turn over. I don't think it would, but it's not absorbent. It's well, I can tell you. I've got calipers here somewhere. Here they are. Hard to find amongst all the stuff sometimes. Y'all don't have that problem, I know. I'm the only one.
Yeah.
I'm pushing ½ inch on the bottom of this bowl.
Yeah.
But it's more like an 1/8 on the walls.
Great
Nice,
job.
smooth, round bottom. Any other
Okay,
questions y'all have?
On chat right now, we have a listing for a depth sanding sealer at woodworkingshop.com. That information is on your chat.
Nice job, Doug.
Nice job, Doug.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
great job, man. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Nice demo, Doug.
Yeah, it was
It's
wonderful.
like it's like getting a sip of water at a fire hydrant, but
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, what you just showed us was going from a rough stock, using it on a screw chuck or a screw piece, and a fairly inexpensive chuck based on that. You did the shaping, you showed us how to take the weight off, how to get the outside shaped up. Got it completely done, shows the axe or the buffing process over just
Hey, JB.
one coat.
No one noticed what? That you're eating?
Just one coat over seal. I mean, this is over one coat of sealer, and and then he flipped it around on raw jaws. I call that raw jaws. Put on raw jaws, tighten it up just enough to control it. And a friend of mine would say, "How tight?" He says, "Just this and not much more." You know, and that's just how you got to look at it. If you think you're going to flex the material, you're too tight. But thank you, Doug. That was an awesome demonstration tonight. Folks, we look for more like this, and it can come from you. Doug shot that demonstration on an iPhone. Yep. But he was cheating. He was watching his iPad like I do right now to watch the demonstration because I can zoom in on my iPad.
That's
Do
right.
what you got to do. All right. We're going to go back to gallery in just a few moments. I have, I am looking for, we asked a couple of weeks ago what type of link they're using, type of brand. We're using that for a spreadsheet, sort of, or a list. It's on our website. Dave puts it there. Now we're interested in what type of finish do you like? What is your preference? And you can tell me what the stacks are, from sanding wax or whatever, or this, and then sanding wax, and then wherever CA comes in there. Tell us what it is. What is your preferred finish on common turnings? Because pens are going to be very different than bowls maybe, but whatever it is, you can share it with us. Put it in the chat, and we will use it. We'll share it with all the other members. That's what we're here for, just to share. I joked a minute ago about telling lies. We don't tell lies. We just tell it the way we see it. Remember our rules? There aren't many. You have to be kind. You can't be nasty, and you can't be political or religious. It's simple. I mean, we get those people in Washington to understand that, we'd be a lot better world. All right.
Woo.
Good luck.
Was that political? I'm sorry. That might have been political. I didn't break the rule.
Just a
Oh.
little bit.
No, no, baby, because you included everybody in Washington.
Okay.
Exactly.
I didn't pick on red side,
You're
white side,
good.
or black side.
You're
Okay.
good.
All right, good. Because this thing gets me in trouble. All right, we're going to go back to gallery. If you have something you'd like to show tonight, put it in chat. Say, I have something to show. Dane Chandler sees that. He puts it in his list, and he will call upon you as it's shown. And when he introduces you, please start talking, because he's got 80 people to look at to figure out who is talking. So just start talking. It'll change the screen, and he'll be able to go to you. So if so, we have anybody in a bullpen, Dane?
Well, we got the wild man Terry.
Uh-oh, this is no good.
Hi.
Hey, Terry.
You found me right off. I don't know if that's
I
good or
pulled you up
bad.
early.
Okay, well, if I can figure out how to work this thing, we'll maybe show you one. I made one last week and started on it. There. Oh, come on. There it is. Okay, we're turning it around. That's the base of it.
The other
Got a
button.
little
There you
base you can do to it. It's not really a lamp. I'm starting to pull back because I wanted to show you a little bit close. That's the base of it. That's a piece of mesquite. And the stem, the stand, is a piece of ash. And then the globe. It was round. It was round, and I didn't expect it to stay round, and it didn't. But I put a lot into it. It's not really a lamp, but I'll get going here and I'll show you what I got going. I wanted to get it a little bit thinner, but it moved so quick that I was unable to.
Personally, I found that this mixture of mineral oil, beeswax.
There's the globe.
Wow.
I turned off the light so you could see the globe. I got it down to just a little under an 8, but it was moving so quick I could feel it thumping as it went around because I wasn't getting it all. It looks like the moon. I was really kind of pleased with it.
It looks like a planet. That's just awesome.
Yes.
And,
Looks like a face to me.
Or Mars.
Yeah,
It's a face in Mars.
All right,
I
please don't
wasn't
get
totally
Brenda started.
satisfied with it, and I thought I would make another one and try again. I was going to drive it up and see if Cade would help me get it a little thinner, but it was quite a ride. But
Sure, anytime.
I got going on another one, and the wood had a different plan than I did. I had a little check that turned into a big check. So it's still on the lathe. It's waiting for the engineering department to decide how it's going to end up here. But I think it's going to be all right. But as you can see, it came out pretty nice.
Yes,
But
it
this
did. Yeah, it did.
ash is really kind of funny. If you
Still
get
see the
it
face.
too thin, it goes from red to yellow. This is the one I showed you last week with you can see where I got it real thin and it went to yellow. But they both stayed pretty decent. They're kind of fun. They're
What wood was that, Terry, for your globe?
the globe.
Yes.
What is it? It's ash. It's a little less than an eighth of it thick. It's 10 inches in diameter, and the whole piece is 23 inches tall.
Absolutely gorgeous.
The globe is thin. The one I have on the lathe that is a failure is about 11.5 inches in diameter, which don't seem like much difference, but it is. But what happened is I have a check about 2 inches from the bottom. And I think I'm going to be able to cut it off and make a different base for it. I've been looking at I looked online and saw some of these, and I can't remember the name of the person that made them, but he called them glow art because they're not really, that one's not really a lamp. That one is. But that don't, as you saw when I turned out the lights, it don't put out much light, but it looks really nice sitting in a dark room.
Yes.
Be a good night light.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not done yet. So you bad guys, bear with me. We might find something.
I see a
I'm
lizard.
trying to get it.
Oh, now y'all got to start it. Come on.
Yeah, I see a lizard in there now.
Oh yeah, that I don't know what planet that is. That's the moon, I think. I'm not sure.
That is pretty cool.
Jupiter.
That is
Jupiter.
cool.
There we go. I can
Or
see the red
Mars.
spot.
The witch's hat.
That's
So
good.
you gotta. If I get around here a little more, you'll see where I don't have much light. That's where it actually moved. When I started, I hollowed some out, and then I went back to the outside and got it as round as I could get it, and come back in, and I still wasn't centered very well. It still was giving me a little thumping going around, so it's a little bit thicker. But all in all, I was kind of pleased with it. For my standards, it was pretty good.
It's
So next
fantastic.
week we'll
Be proud.
No, it is very
next
nice.
week we'll see if I can do something better.
All right. Thank you,
So
Terry.
that's
Right
all
on.
I got to show.
That's a
Too
witch
hard
out
on
of the room.
yourself.
Now, folks, you can go to club meetings all across the world, and you're not going to see this kind of art. We draw the
Right.
best, and that's bottom line. This is wow. Okay, we're gonna go keep
Right.
going, and we just saw Terry. In a few minutes, we're going to see his sidekick. But
Yeah, we're going to go to the other side of town and check out Joaquin.
There he is.
Hi, Joaquin.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Hey,
Wake up, Joaquin.
Might be a little bright. I'm going to dim the light.
Actually, you looked fine to me.
I don't know this piece that I'm going to show. It's it may be too dark now. I don't know. It's
Yeah, it looks a little dark.
Oh,
nice.
this is
What's on the bottom?
well, it's a chuck. I haven't finished it yet. I finished it as far as the finish. This I use 50-50 lacquer with 50% lacquer and 50% lacquer center. And this is I finished that, but I didn't have time to part it off. And so I'm through with it as far as it's finished. Okay, so in order to part this off and finish the bottom, I have this piece here because I didn't want to put all the pressure on this lip. As this is going to hit the bottom and put pressure on the bottom. When I part this off, I'll leave a little tab and then, put my free center in it to keep it centered here and put this in here with a little rubber cushion as well. When I go to cut it off and finish the end.
Wow.
It's
So,
gorgeous. It's beautiful.
yeah. And so anyway.
How long
really
did it
cool.
take you to do that?
That's very nice.
Oh, it was probably total maybe of off and on 6 hours.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. It's all I got done this week, though.
Very nice.
Pardon me.
That's all I got this week. It's
Right on, Joaquin.
yeah, I probably won't.
Thanks for
It'll probably be
sharing.
gone tomorrow, so I wanted to show it tonight, like it was.
Right on.
All right, thank you.
Nice job.
All right, we're showing items on gallery tonight, but let me mention this: our chat section is open ground. I see where some pay-per-views and some workshops and demonstrations are becoming listed. Yes, that is welcome. It's also because we want to start collecting upcoming events dealing with wood turning. And it really doesn't matter on our chat whether it's pay-per-view, free, club, whatever. All it matters is that we're sharing it with you, and then you make your decisions about what you like to do. We're not sponsored. We have no lines that we have to follow like that, but we're just out to share information. Earlier, somebody asked me about the cutter business I'm in. I am closing my business. I am. and somebody said, "Are you going to stop the YouTubes?" No, no. With the pressure off from that, I'll feel better doing the YouTubes, and I have a whole nother concept of what to do on them, and I want to play with that. It's been my dream for a couple of years. So we're always open to input and things coming to us. Somebody said earlier I could only do a demo if I tape it. We can work with that. We really can. Oh, wait, before we go to other galleries, we were talking about something earlier, and this came up. I got to share it with you. This is a piece. That's the piece that I turned out of that sweet pine, that center line pine. Um, so much that the creosote was just dumping out. It was a beautiful piece. I had a little fun. That auctioned off for several $100s, which was really good. It's for a church.
George.
And then I just put this on Facebook today because see which one I can get to if I have the right one up. That piece I did, and this I turned this on my ornamental lathe using a little bitty fine cutter. If I could still do that kind of hand movement, I'd do another one in a heartbeat. I made that into, I added it to a lid. It is not a lid, I added it to a lid. So I had a little fun with that, and we out to show things on gallery. And earlier this evening, we were talking about turning pine and other woods that are not normal, you say normal, that are not hardwoods and unique woods. They're needle woods. And that's why we point some things out. As hard as that was to turn, that piece of pine turned out fantastic. Talk about hard on tools. It didn't destroy the tools. It's just had to keep sharpening to get those little fine cuts. And that's what I wanted. I wanted those little wispies. And sometimes that's the hardest cut to get that wispy. Doug showed us a couple tonight with the slicing and the way he attacked it, which was good. Hope you novice turners caught the way he came uphill and then downhill on addressing the interior of that, where he could work the grain and get better cuts. And he didn't raise a lot of hair. If he'd raised a lot of hair, his sanding would have been really more awkward. It would look like he needed to use a brick or a rock to sand it to get started. He didn't, because he had done a great job of controlled cuts. And then he shear scraped the outside, lightly shear scraped the outside to take out little bumps and things. So a lot in that demonstration. And that's why we like the members to do these demonstrations for us. Okay, we're going to go back to gallery. If Dane's got anybody lined up, go.
Yeah, we got the three amigos. We got the trifecta effect going on. Hey, Glenn.
How are y'all doing?
Doing good.
Well, I was just messing around a little bit on my lathe yesterday and today, and I turned a couple of little things, and they're just a couple of little miniature turning tools.
Aww.
Oh,
But
that's
they're
cool.
but they're the tool is just out of brass tubing. I just
All right, hold on. Nobody can say that's cute. Okay, that's a rule. You can't say that's cute.
Oh, that's cute.
Even if it is cute, that's neat.
So
That's
this,
adorable.
but the brass tubing, I just got a file and I started filing the top of it till I filed that out. And this one is this one would be a spindle gouge. This is 1/8 inch diameter, and the handle is out of Bacote. No, Bacote. And this is just under 3 inches long.
Wow.
And this one is a spindle roughing gouge. The same brass tubing. It's an 1/8 inch diameter, and the handle is out of it's about 1/4 inch diameter. It's out of deer antler.
Wow.
Nice.
Very nice.
So just something I was messing around with. I said, well, there was some other little bitty small things I've been turning, and so I said, well, I'm going to make me a couple little tools, just for little.
That's
But they I
SNG.
filed them down, and they are sharp because it did cut my thumb. So,
he needs a Band-Aid.
Brett.
but that's all I had.
Oh, that's so cute.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Not cute. It's beautiful.
They're cute.
Good job, Glenn.
They're
not cute.
they're perfect for little tiny balsa spindles.
They're not cute.
They're cute.
Heather would tell us they're cute. Come on, Heather.
All right. Who's up next, Dane?
I think we got Abbott and Costello going on right now. Who's on first?
Who's on first?
At the moment, we don't have anyone.
Oh, all right. I see. I saw. Okay, I didn't read the name.
Bases are empty.
Unless I
Bases
missed somebody. Then forever hold your peace.
Members, this is where you jump in if you got something to show. If you got
I have something to show.
All right. Well, Robert
All right,
Clark,
Robert.
go ahead.
Well, keep talking and I'll spotlight you.
Okay, I'm right here. How's that sound?
I got you.
You got me. Okay. I've made these anniversary platters before, and I tried something different with this one. A couple of things different. And I've got a niece and her husband that just celebrated their 25th anniversary coming up. And I had recently purchased a CNC router. So instead of laser engraving it, I CNC routed the engraving on the inside.
Wow.
And I also tried something new. I've used the gold spray paint before from Krylon. Well, I tried the silver, and it really looks great. You know, when I sprayed it on there, and it looked fantastic. It was all glittery and everything. As soon as I put lacquer over it, it kind of tarnished. So I don't know how I'm going to work that out, but maybe I'll just leave it tarnished, and they can go with that. But
Looks silvery to me.
yeah. So anyway, it's still kind of work in progress. I haven't finished the back yet, but
it's beautiful.
That's pretty.
So
good, Robert. Thanks for sharing.
That's very
Love
nice.
Yeah.
Is that a sort of a silver textured paint, or is it just straight up silver?
It's straight up silver. What I do on the edges, I take my my texturing tool and I go around the rim so that it gives kind of a metallic
Hammered look
texture
to it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the metallic thing went away when I sprayed the lacquer on it. Which when I used the same brand of gold paint, and it works great. So
Interesting.
I've got to figure out why the silver seems to tarnish, but
It's too bad.
if nothing else, I can live with it.
Right.
It's still a neat effect. Yeah. Very
Earlier, Dane asked on in the chat if somebody knew how to make a picture frame. That right there would be a perfect picture frame. Hollowed out, that'd be perfect.
Sure.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, just
and the reason why I'm asking about a picture frame is there's a few requests in for somebody to do a demo on turning a picture frame.
Talking about a round one?
Anything, just a picture.
Yeah,
think.
Could be round, could be square, but turned on the lathe.
Use your imagination.
Okay. Now, that'd be cool. That'd be cool to do.
All you prospective demonstrators, think about it and get in touch with me.
Yeah, to use a square piece and put a round frame inside of it.
Yeah.
And you can turn. All right, let's play with this, folks, because I got to get some brains working here.
What about oval? What about doing some elliptical turning?
Well, picture frame. A picture frame doesn't designate the shape, so a turn picture frame, whether it's elliptical, oval, football shape,
yeah, you see,
shape, whatever. So.
Matt stole my thunder right there because that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I know.
Start off a block of wood, and you put it in. Don't turn the piece for you. Well, you can do whatever you choose, but you have a block of wood, and you're going to turn an insert that'll go in it to accent the image that you're doing. And Bob Moffat's watching. Bob, you can do about 9 different inserts, overlay them, and twist them and everything, and just and
have to have a big family then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
It'd
and
be a
the,
big family for sure.
That'd be cool.
the problem with that
Call it
is
a cub.
in my
Somebody
mental
call it a
condition,
cubby.
my eyes are crossed. I'll never see any of it. So, all right. Great idea.
Something to think about. All right, let's go to Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Charlie.
I got a few items. I had this, for over a month. I hadn't touched my lathe. I've been working on other projects. I turned a couple of crosses.
Nice.
Box elder.
Very nice.
Then I
They
made a
look
few
great, nice.
boxes. Now, as you'll notice, the lid doesn't fit tight. I got a question for when I'm done showing this.
Hold it up. I can't see it.
This is okay. This is box elder oak.
Up, up.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Over here.
And they're all made out of the same piece. And if you turn it, the lines all line up.
Nice.
Nice.
Now we go to this box. The lid.
Nice pop.
A little tight.
Yeah.
Good.
Now this one is made out of diamond willow.
Diamond willow.
Nice.
Very nice.
That isn't real tight, but it's got that little pop.
Nice.
Now I made an acorn box. The lid is loose. Now these were all made within the last 2 days. They've got the same kind of finish, JB shine juice, OB shine juice on it, and depth lacquer. When I made them, all of them were just snug. Within a day, day and a half, 2 of them stay. One's real tight, one's snug. The other's loose. What am I doing wrong?
Wood moves.
Nothing.
What's
The
I
wood
know
moves.
it does, but on the moisture meter, they were all
It doesn't
under
matter.
3%.
Meter.
So
Wrap
where
Yeah,
do
but
you
the moisture meter,
and throw it away.
They can absorb
yeah,
absorb
the
more
moisture
moisture.
meter only
after
goes
the-
in
How many
millimeters,
can we hear at the same time?
right?
Wrap $20 around that moisture meter and throw it away. That way you knew you threw something away.
Okay.
Yeah, your moisture meter will only do the moisture in like a millimeter or two as deep as it goes in, and then that'll be the moisture within that area of the wood. But once you remove all that wood on the outside of that blank, the moisture on the inside of the wood is different, so it still needs to dry after the turning. And depending where it's cut from, whether it's the trunk, a limb, a crotch, the wood
Okay,
will move
how
in
do I
different
get the
ways.
lids to fit now?
Put a couple of
layers.
drops of TA glue on 4 points, parallel to one another, and you'll have just enough to give you a good fit to that lid again.
All right.
But Charlie, don't put it when you put the glue on, don't put it back together right away.
Right.
Yeah, wait for the
It's
little
good
ball
thing you
of
said
glue to
that.
dry.
Something else.
Ask you next week how to get them apart.
Something else. If your wood is at 3% and you're turning it, but the atmosphere around you is at 25 or 50% humidity, that wood's going to absorb some of the humidity from the air.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're all made. The wood is all stored in the same area. The lathe that is in. They didn't change. They shouldn't. If one
All wood
piece,
absorbs moisture at a different rate too.
yeah,
Oh,
and the
no.
moisture inside the blank will be different.
all
from
but
the
one
outside.
of them is of the same.
But
Then it has to do with
okay.
then it has to do with your wall thickness based upon your wall thickness.
That's true because the one that's really loose is
thin.
Hard to hold too.
Just a hair more than a 16th thick.
Nice.
One other thing you have to take into account outside moisture, there's internal stresses in that wood. So some wood will move just because you've relieved the stress from the wood around it.
Yeah.
Right. And then one
Yeah,
piece of
too.
wood out of the same log is going to move at a different rate than the other piece beside it.
Correct. It blows my mind how much it does, but it does.
And that's
And,
just
box,
wood.
and box elder moves a lot. I turned a
Oh,
lot
this
of
is all,
box elder.
it's all out of the same tree.
Doesn't matter. It
Well,
moves.
it's all going to move at different rates.
Yeah, I understand.
One branch is different than the other.
And it will drive you crazy at times.
This was out of a 18-inch round piece, 2 foot. This is all out of that one piece.
That's woodworking.
Yeah. Well, Captain Eddie said it years ago on his videos. Wood does one thing real good. It moves.
That's what it
Knows
does.
how to
That's what
boogie.
God gave it. God gave it the ability to be flexible. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any trees on this earth.
Those are beautiful pieces.
Those
Thank
are.
you.
That's
Very
great.
nice.
All right. We have about 10 minutes left to do gallery. If folks are popping in, jump in right now. We're going to pull the plug at 9 o'clock Central.
See if Kate has anything.
Steve,
We got Stephen up next.
All right, good.
Steven, how are you?
Weren't missed, buddy.
Yeah, we ain't seen
But
you
you
for a
were
while.
missed.
All right, Steve, you're muted.
You're muted.
Your voice ain't coming through.
Looks like you're unmuted, but I'm not hearing you. Nope.
Yeah, we got no audio.
How about now?
Yeah,
you
Now we got you.
That's good. Love your beard.
I had a auxiliary speaker. You can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
My wife is a fiber artist. She's into the spinning wheels,
Mm-hmm.
and she asked me to make some tools for her to sell. These are what they call Nost pins. They're, I guess, basically like spurtles. It's
Mm-hmm. Nice job.
Oh, nice.
it's got a tapered, got a tapered end here to handle, and little groove here on some of them. You tie your yarn onto, and then you wrap it around and create a yarn ball, and then you can pull it off, and then it's got a center pull yarn ball for you to knit with.
Yeah, let's go past the shape and pick it up again, Stephen. Look at the quality of the wood and the finish there, folks. Look at it.
Nice.
It's these are maple, and they're this has got some figure to it. It's pretty nice.
Like quilted maple.
Very nice. Nice curl.
Obi shine juice on it, and and axe finish, axe polish.
Very nice.
This one has some really nice figure to it.
Very
Yes.
Nice job. Nice.
So I'm making her a bunch of those. This is an interesting one. This is what was it? The tree of heaven. Has anybody heard of that? It's a some reason it's growing in my yard on my hedgerow. It's from China, but it's a wood, but it's got some really pretty figuring in it. Almost like it's salted.
Yeah.
It's invasive, right?
Ooh.
It grows fast. It grows fast and it's invasive, right?
It is invasive. It grows like a weed.
Yeah.
And I understand the red spotted lanternfly really are attracted to it.
Beautiful
So
work, Steve.
So that's one thing I did, and these are called knitting knotties. For taking the wool off of the spinning wheel, you turn it this way, and then you wind, the yarn on here. Then you can measure it when you got a whole skein full of yarn. So this is walnut.
Beautiful. Love the beads.
Got a couple of them.
Oh, nice.
Super work.
Beads. Beautiful.
Turn so they can get it off. So tight fit. This side's green.
Yeah, it's real nice. Your ends almost look like winding sticks.
Mhm.
What was that thing?
I said your ends, what the twine, the yarn is wound on, almost looks like winding sticks.
Yes.
For leveling a board. Yeah.
It's kind of a nice design, I thought.
Yeah, it is. It's sweet.
Yes.
Nice job.
Very nice.
Very appeasing to the eye.
And I think the last time I chimed into the chat, I was asking about economy board for a bowl for a board, how to cut it. Well, I finally made my first one.
Nice.
All right.
Shine on that is blinding.
Nice, very nice. That's cool.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Gorgeous.
And walnut. It's about
Beautiful.
11 and a half inches diameter and about 3 1/4 inches high.
Very nice.
Oh,
Well
the
done,
shine
Steve.
nice. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So that's X. I mean, OB Shine Juice and X.
Yeah.
You
Thank
can
you,
see
Steve.
3 different levels there. Okay, thank you.
Very
Beautiful.
nice.
Nice job.
Very nice.
Great job.
Time for
You,
one or
Eddie.
two more if you pop them up. What's that, sir?
We're back to you. Waiting
All
on
right,
others.
Okay.
What about Cade's? Cade
Uh,
got anything?
Cade. Cade.
Yeah,
I saw a
Cade.
picture of Cade.
I
Cade
can
might
finish
be
up
in trouble.
something.
I saw a picture
Sure,
of
I got
Cade.
some.
He was hanging out with some good-looking woman. Might
I
be in
want to see
My
a
trouble.
wife and I
picture.
were having dinner just a few minutes ago, but I ran downstairs to the basement and found a couple of things that are in process of being finished. So yeah, hi everyone. Hope all is well. It's been a little busy the last couple of weeks in nap times and evenings. I've been turning spurtles and the pop can covers because I got a couple festivals coming up. So some of the variations, I've been playing with the texturing tool, doing a couple little hats with
Oh, that's
texture
cute.
That's
and
cute.
burn lines
Yeah.
for your hats, for your pop can covers, or
Can hat.
yeah, or you can have a top hat, can
Oh,
hat,
goodness.
Oh, that's cute. Whoa.
or
Oh,
just a cone one like this with some texture,
yeah.
but dished out so people can keep stuff in there, keep snacks, treats. Then it's on your pop can. You have one hand free. You can eat. Oh, you need to drink a beer? Okay, take it off. Have a sip of beer. Now there's no bugs getting in your drink.
And a place for your M&Ms.
Yeah, for your M&Ms,
Peanuts.
Peanuts. For your peanuts.
Smarties, chips, or cheese and crackers. But I've been making a couple of things for my son. So I made him a couple a while ago. I made some rattles. I got to get pictures of them, and then he'll be able to play with them before he really damages them. But I made a couple spoons, a couple baby spoons for him. So here's one, and they're not really turned. They were cut out on the bandsaw and then hand carved as I sit on the porch and enjoy some peace and quiet while he's having a nap. So here's one.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And that's out of beech.
Beautiful.
And that's not quite finished yet. I have a couple shiny ones that are finished. Here's one. This one is out of beech as well. So a small little.
Probably for mother.
Oh, cool.
Okay,
Just
somebody can say cute anytime now.
Yeah, right. That's the appropriate time.
And then I have one more here, which is a little longer, a little longer, a little smaller or daintier. And there it is there. I like this one the best. The
I do too.
daintiness of the stem
I
and
like
the
the shape.
The
Yes.
shape of the head of the spoon is very snake-like, snakehead-like.
Well,
Hey,
what
look,
steel
hold it
height
up
is
there,
that?
turn it up. Hold the handle straight up. Straight
Oh,
up. Now hold this handle straight up.
There you go.
Completely upside down now.
Oh no! Don't start, Kate. Don't
Now,
like,
hey,
please.
hold it right in front of you. Yes.
and
Oh
then
my
I did a
goodness.
box the other day. And I wasn't sure about my finial, but with the shape, I had some antler lying around, and at first I didn't dye it. So I wanted some sort of deer antler finial of some sort, but I wanted to keep the natural arc of the antler. So I positioned this on the lathe with glue blocks and jam blocks to turn it because it is not centered. Because I had to taper this to fit it into the hole for the finial. And then I just shaped it a little bit. Now this was tulip poplar, and tulip poplar is pretty plain. This is sort of what it looks like with nothing on it. And I got some notes on different sides. But it's pretty plain and boring. So I like using it for coloring or embellishing. And it really didn't fit with the finial. So then I thought, okay, why not do some sort of maybe double dye? And then it could be like a tint or a tone color of a deer, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the chatoyance in the wood that became zigzag. And that is the sapwood, and this
That's
is the
his eyeball.
hardwood. And the sapwood didn't really absorb it as much, so it looks like a little egg or so.
The
But
deer's
that I
eyeball.
was sort of playing around with it. I don't know
Nice.
how much I like it, but
It's
it's
a great
growing on
effect,
me.
Cade. Yeah, it's a great effect.
Thanks.
Looks neat. Yeah, I like
love it. Love it.
Nice job.
Growing on me. And then those who know me know that I absolutely hate turning resins and epoxies. But I had some offcuts of, can't say scrap wood, it's just wood that hasn't been used yet. But I had some offcuts from pens I did years ago. And I found some that were similar sizes in Purple Heart and tulip wood. And I had some epoxy that was aging and I needed to use it. So I cast this in a little plastic container. Actually, it was cast in a little, not this one, but something similar to it. It was cast in a yogurt container, right? And then I turned the box out of it, but I positioned the pieces so when I poured the epoxy, I had voids and gaps in it. So here's the little box, and there is my tulip wood. Here is my Purple Heart. I used the epoxy with like a baby blue, but also a opalescence, so it shimmers like a candy paint. And then tulip wood, Purple Heart.
And there,
Here's the,
the
here's
glass
the
lid.
bottom.
Gorgeous.
Oh my goodness.
And then here's the lid. Now the lid is Purple Heart, tulip wood. And the finial is tulip. Now all these pieces, the biggest pieces were probably, I don't know, maybe an inch long. And then the smaller pieces were probably 3/2 inch or 3/8 of an inch. But then I open it and we can see the light and the opalescence through it.
Very nice.
And then here's the inside here.
Love what you did there, Kate. That's nice.
Yes, very nice.
That's beautiful.
And then they actually match up as they go around. I got lucky there when I split them in half because they were multiple pieces. But yeah, it turned out pretty cool. I was happy with it, even though epoxy and resins are really messy and static and cling to everything.
Right.
But you turned out some beautiful work, sir. Beautiful
Thank
work.
you.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely gorgeous, Cade.
Thanks for checking in with us, Cade.
No problem. Yeah, thanks.
Cade.
Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Right.
All right,
Well,
Eddie. Let's go back to
looks
you.
like-
I'm gonna check chat here real quick, see if we're missing anybody.
All right. And folks, it's a little bit after 9 o'clock Central Time. We normally try to pull the plug, and if it runs a little long because we have somebody we've had on hold for a while, we will get to it. But we invite you to join us. We get started supposedly at 6 o'clock Central Time. That doesn't work out. Tonight it was 5:31 Central Time. And I only know that because the timer on the recording is running about that. So we invite you to join us. If you can't stay for all of it, stay for a minute and bring a friend. Please bring a friend. If you know somebody else that's turning and they're not part of our gang, our crew, our family, whatever, invite them to come on in. There's plenty of room on the tailgate. We're sitting here talking, we're turning. With that, folks, I'm going to say it's time to pull the plug. I'm going to tell you just like it is. Be safe. Good night.
Save the
Hey,
chat.
everyone.
Everybody
Save
save
the
the
chat.
Good
chat.
night.
Have a
Night.
great week, guys.
Hey, everyone.
Night.
Good
Good
night.
night,
John
everyone. Have
boy.
a great week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Stay
Mary
safe.
Ellen.